team. So I'm just waiting for that, wave to move on and get back.
It's the same scores for the top three in this league. A repeat of Boston at the last stop. Local hero Corsetti in fifth and Panisi with a solid start as well. Ellie Smart is in last place. The American needs to take a chance to get back on track. All eyes turn to the local hero. Andrea Banaba from Italy is 20 years old and is one of the young guns to watch out for. A great opening dive for the Italian. There is so much pressure to perform well in front of a home crowd.
It's been grateful, so energy, thanks to everyone.
And with David Baraldi, the fans have two athletes to cheer on. But his first dive wasn't quite as good. Up next, the winner of the previous stop in Boston, Aidan Heslop.
I really wasn't putting quite as much pressure on myself as I was at the previous competition. The last dive I was throwing the sunnies on, doing some things for the cameras, I was just kind of enjoying myself.
He sends it, he starts it, he seals the deal.
But I think that's kind of what helped me do my dive as well as I did. I do like Boston. I mean, I've been there 3 times personally and been on the podium every single time now.
With the win, Heslop catapults himself to second place. Liechtenstein leads the series for the first time in his career, and Popovic and Jimeno are still within reach. But this time, his required dive in round 1 did not meet his own expectations. The Brit hit a wave crest on entry.
Really nice, and then I just hit the top of the wave, and it's super soft and just splashed, went everywhere, so could have been some 9s, but the wave messed me up, unfortunately.
After 2 podiums at the first 2 stops, James Liechtenstein enters this competition as the current World Series leader.
Anytime there's any sort of natural location and it's not a true platform, like that has an extra element of things you have to worry about. And the more that's going on in my head, the more my heart keeps that beat.
But the American controls his nerves. Media Ota scores for Liechtenstein, but still a good start for the 29-year-old, especially whilst harbouring an injury.
Hit a rock down there, and I didn't even get hurt. Then I got on the boat with the guys and started really bleeding. So it looked pretty bad, but I'm being go for rounds 2, 3, 4. So.
Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion Konstantin Popovic is back after his withdrawal from the event in Boston due to injury. Not the type of scores the Romanians are aiming for, normally.
So that's important now. Take it day by day, dive by dive. Let's know it.
Jonathan Paredes stepped back from competition in Boston, like Santiago Panisi, due to a mental block. How is he dealing with his inner thoughts today? Clean entry, high scores, and most importantly, a smile on Paredes' face.
You want to go like one step at a time, but sometimes it's very difficult because it doesn't matter if you're not, or if you are avoiding these feelings. You watch the platform and you have to do it, so in the end, you have to think about it. So, but yeah, I think it's a matter of manage your mind somehow and be surrounded by your friends.
So that's the need for Fredes. But the easy dives were honestly never the problem. Silver had a more than impressive start, and Heslop and Popovic slightly behind the leader. The sun sets in Oriano Amare, and while the narrow streets of the town are still buzzing with life, the athletes try to recover after a long, exhausting day. Let's get ready for the next challenge. The next day begins with bad news for local hero David Baraldi.
My temperature first, so I don't feel like stay straight, stay hard in the hamstring. I decided to work out myself from the competition.
The reigning World Series champion Konstantin Popovic is also being treated again. Can his injured knee withstand diving today?
I'm just tapping my knee to restrict my potentially hyperextended knee so it doesn't happen like in Boston.
He has two little bone bruises, one in the front of the tibia, in medial, and one on the fibula. We try to fix it, and we are protecting those little bone bruises.
Step into round two with Alexei Prigorov, Ukrainian currently lives in northern Italy. And his family have come along to offer their support. Having those you love around you is an unspoken advantage on competition day.
Especially here, I have my family, and also Italiano is always people so friendly and support to everyone of us, so it's really gives me a lot of energy and happiness.
A short video analysis with his mum, and on we go. Local hero Andrea Banava is now standing on the 27-metre platform, supported by his injured teammate David Baraldi. Together with Elisa Bossetti, they are the young and very talented Team Italy.
We didn't know each other from a very long time. We used to do diving, normal diving in the pool since 11 years ago. But since 4 years, we know each other a lot better because now we are a team.
We help each other so much because we are the only three people in Italy that do this sport.
Doon yung ano mo, yung tension. Dalawa, dito ba?
Diving in Polignano is amazing just for the crowd that everyone cheers about. I think it's more than everyone else. Maybe the pressure is a little bit more, but we can control it.
And their role model has known them if an Italian wins in Italy. Alessandro De Rose made history in 2017.
Ang sabi nila, mega krill ba yung ano? Yung by organ?
became the first and only Italian to
Sa
win
medyo
the
special.
Polygonal Mare.
Hindi naman pwedeng flat dito.
Same rin tayo sa kwarto.
Oo, mga times yung ito. Hindi nga yung sa kwarto. Maybe na lang siya dyan. Saan gusto ko yun. Baka gusto na naman niya, ano. Ay, ma'am, anong number niyo po? Yan po, sa
Dulo.
kanan po.
The dream is always there, especially with his parents cheering him on. Can he keep his focus on the present?
Gusto ko nang piliin yung pink, ha.
Mabago sabi.
Yan sa ako.
Yes.
ka rito, boy.
Life of his parents and the judges are delighted as well. Great scores and even a 10 from head judge Anki Piper. The support pushes the young Italian to achieve a top performance.
My family is super excited. I think more than me. So my dad is super excited, and that's amazing. I love the support that they give to me.
Konstantin Popovic is almost ready. Normally, the Romanian would now perform his hardest dive, a handstand. But together with his coach, he's changed his list to an easier dive to protect his injured knee. The plan worked. The risk was high as he hadn't performed the dive in a very long time.
The handstand, I got injured in Boston. I tried last week some handstand. It was really painful. I was not ready. It would have been risky. Maybe I could have done it, but I didn't want to risk. At first, okay, I want to stay here, to come here and play safe. So let's see. Hopefully, it doesn't get too sore tonight, and I can do one more round tomorrow.
It's been a difficult balance for him this weekend, but it's going well so far. James Lichtenstein has positioned himself as the man to beat right now. Always consistent and the current World Series leader. What about today? It remains neck and neck between these two. Years old, 5 wins, and a 2-time red and chip diving World Series runner-up. Hayden Heslop has so much potential. One of the hardest dives in the world, degree of difficulty 5.9, but from start to finish, no control. That's not correct scores. And there's clear disappointment. Heslop heads off for some time to think. Now, Nikita Fedotov with the hardest dive in the world. Difficulty level 6.0. He only performed it in competition at the last event in Boston. A bad landing. The safety team is there immediately.
What I can see, it is a very difficult dive. He eats up a lot of his space. If you don't react at the correct time, you're going to run out of space very quickly, and that's exactly what happened. Luckily, all these guys are very well prepared. They're very strong, so even on those impacts, they're still okay. You see them hurting a little bit, but a few days after, they're all okay.
All rescue measurements were in place. Steady recovery in Nikita Fedotov. Jonathan Paredes waits following the rescue protocol. Trying hard to concentrate is not that simple when you can see the ambulance. But he has his mind under control.
I knew she had a bad landing, but in the end, I know there's a lot of professionals down there. She's gonna be okay. So I tried to keep down, and in the end was okay.
Liechtenstein is surfing a wave of confidence after his podium in Boston. Popovich with an impressive comeback, and the 20-year-old Bernabé shows his potential. The top six are only separated by less than 30 points. On the second page, Alexei Krigorov sits in 10th. The divers are taking over, in more ways than one.
We have these camera crews that follow us around everywhere, and it looks very difficult. So today, a few of us divers are going to take on the challenge of becoming the camera crew. Let's go see if we can do it.
Hello, let me just come on, one moment.
Yes, no problem. We need some places for the diver. Wow, thank you, man. Jonathan Perez.
Oh, hola, Yolo. What are you doing?
Sure.
Oh, you follow me. So you know I'm here, like,
Exactly. They're moving the camera.
Hello?
I'm here with John, who's the
Hello.
best pole track operator in the world, and I'm going to try to take
Oh.
over the job.
They just about did it. And you just did it out.
213. Ano lang? 213.
What is this thing?
Ba't tatanggal? Hindi pwede pwede. Dapat di tatanggal yan.
3, 2, 1.
Aalis kami, punta kami sa Cruz.
Taking the
Punta kami, silipin ko pa rin yan.
way to go in the water.
Lawil. Kita ko ba to? Kita ko ba to? Kawawa naman, no? Iniingay yung ano niya, hindi niya matanggal yung ingay.
I get it.
Elisa Corsetti has been a cliff diver since 2021, and since then she's been part of the lineup here in Polignano Amare in front of her Italian fans.
I hear them, and it was special.
Her best finish was in 8th place. This year, the 21-year-old wants to top that. Really good scores on her intermediate dive.
I didn't try this dive during training, so I was a little nervous, but I'm super happy.
It's safe to say Kaylee Arnett's enjoying her cliff diving experience.
Hi everybody, I'm Kaylee Arnett. I'm from USA and I'm 31 years old.
Kaylee Arnett loves music, just like this city's most famous son, Domenico Modugno.
He must be the singer.
Yep, the man behind the world famous Volare. But we want to know more about you, Kaylee, the next shooting star.
My mother was a big fan of horses growing up in the middle of Texas, so I started doing rodeo when I was very young. And I had so much energy, so my mother also put me in power tumbling, trampoline, and double mini classes. So I was just running around doing all kinds of crazy things growing up.
beautiful.
I started diving when I was 8 years old. And I would practice for 8 hours a day. And I'm glad, though, because now I have the technique in my body. We need to send some postcards back home for sure. Check it out. Cliff Diving Terrace. Let's go check it out. Personally, me, I like listening to music. I like dancing. I I like feeding off of the energy of the audience, the people who are watching us cliff diving. Yeah, that's the secret for me.
Full of energy, brimming with talent, but on the platform, calm and collected. Another impressive performance.
No secret. I literally just let my body do what it knows how to do, what I've been doing for 20 plus years now. So I turn my brain off, just think of music, and my body knows what it's doing.
Simone Leated is having a great season so far with her first top 3 results at the season opener in Boston. She became a cliff diver only last year and is still struggling with the outdoor environment from time to time.
Well, this is a bit hard for me right now, but I mean, it's part of the sport. It cannot always be good things, so I'm learning every day. I think I'm just having trouble seeing the bottom. I see the water, but I don't expect the water to be that close to that far, so yeah, it's just a learning process for me.
And now, Rhiannon Tidwell. She rules over Poliana Amare like the Queen of Italy.
That's kind of news to me. I'm raising 7 years here in a row. I guess that's kind of a real confidence, is to go out there and just know that I have nothing to lose and that I have nothing to prove, and I can be proud of what I've done in the past here, and yeah, it makes me feel warm on the inside. I guess go for it one more time.
She's 32 years of age and she's only getting better and better. That's so impressive. Her first running takeoff since her 10-meter board career almost 10 years ago.
I need a bit of a challenge. I think the conventions here, going into this 8th season of mine, I kind of want to set little challenges along the way, and that was definitely one of them. So, yeah, I'm really proud, and I think I said to myself, however this goes, I want to be proud that I'm putting it in and I'm stepping outside of what I know.
Title contender Molly Carlson with her hardest dive. Difficulty 4.4. To put the pressure on, her biggest rival, Rhiannon Tidwell, high score. Looks like a lot of splash. That's low scores for Carlson as she deals with the conditions.
Different challenges. I'm exhausted in this heat. I'm ginger, so I'm not made for this weather.
Poliana Amare is already the 27th World Series event for Xanthi Agnesi, but she almost didn't take the trip to Australia.
16 minutes that is done. I feel racing and but I have one more spot before I get to Bari, and then one out of outside and have free food. We love that. I'm really glad I had those 2 weeks off to reflect, and I've paid some of my guides here to help me look at the bigger picture of this season. I want to still stay consistent and not just tackle these hard dives when I'm not ready. Our shuttle to the hotel is in the ambulance. Alright.
Never mind. Yeah, this is looking better. So physically, technically I'm there, and mentally I'm working on. So frosting was a big learning curve for me, and I'm glad I went through it. It was a big struggle and I cried so much, but you know, I'm trying to be better every single time, 1% better every day.
1% better every day. That's the ambition. The fellow divers know about Penice's mental block. Will she step away from the edge? Absolutely not. She went through with it and looked great.
When I wait a long time, I'm hesitating a little bit, and it is harder the more I wait. But you know, this is something I'm battling. I've been struggling with some mental blocks, and the fact that I did it, I'm really proud. I just hope that in the future I can be a lot more confident and go really fast.
Rising star Kaylee Arnett with her first step back. Only 6.5 for her inward 3 somersaults. A gap is opening up for Island at the top of the table as she capitalizes on Arnett's mistakes. Denise and Corsetti are still in reach of the podium, and permanent diver Simone Vite is struggling here in Italy, as is Kelly Smart. Now Amara is ready for the big showdown, the grand finale. Thousands of fans celebrate the best cliff divers in the world. But when they're in that moment, every single one of them is alone, just themselves and their thoughts, before that decisive final dive.
Living with anxiety, I search for those moments of silence. Nothing but in the moment focus is going through my brain.
You can actually enjoy the crowd for a few seconds, and you can hear them like, hey, thanks for being here, and I love you. But there is 1 second when you block everything on your mind, and it's just you, the platform, and no one else.
For me, it's such a big thing, because you get onto the platform, it's kind of like a hyper focus that you're going to, and I guess I can call it like a flow state.
You know, when that fourth dive is like, all right, this is the one that will kind of determine the placing. That's what I'm most nervous about.
It's the final day of competition, and 40,000 spectators create a fantastic atmosphere around Poliano Amare. Wildcard Ginny Van Cartfit sits in a good 6th position for her final dive, coordinating the scuba divers in the water below. The Dutch woman is supported by her husband Matt, a cliff diver himself. After a 6th place in Boston, what can she achieve today? A good entry. Another impressive performance. 7.5 from the international judges. And the lead.
The crowd, amazing. The weather, amazing. The location, amazing. And my dad, amazing.
This is only her 5th World Series competition in 4 years, but it seems that Van Cartfit has finally arrived.
There's still a lot to improve, but I'm very happy.
It's getting louder in Polignano Amare, all for local hero Elisa Corsetti. It's a very special moment. A lot of attention, though, means a lot of extra pressure. The 21-year-old approaches the final with the lowest degree of difficulty across the board, but with straight 7s from the judges, he could stay in the lead. Too much of a splash. But at least Corsetti is okay and can smile. The judges have deducted though for that bad entry.
truck because there were a lot of emotions, and I was super excited of dive, and he's a easy dive for me, and all this energy, it went like
Now on the platform, Zakia Panisi. In Boston, she couldn't finish her last dive due to an anxiety attack. So, in response, she's lowered her degree of difficulty. A less complicated maneuver means less stress, and a clever decision from the Australian. It's not the score she would have wanted, but it is enough for the lead.
yeah, I'm shaking a little bit. I just got too much adrenaline and fear. Today I had to change my plans a bit because I kind of had some like mental struggles in training, and I didn't train my dive, and I was quite hard up there, but I did it, and I'm happy with that, and I'm just like, I feel good.
Panisi is in the lead with 3 more divers to come, who will win the prestigious event at the home of European cliff diving. Kaylee Arnett is clearly enjoying the infamous Italian atmosphere. This is only her second Special Cliff Diving World Series competition, but the American already sets such a high standard. Will Panisi make it to the podium? Or Arnett once again? What a dive! Panisi can hardly believe it. Those are great scores, and that is the lead.
Very happy with the last dive. I was a little bit nervous, so my legs were feeling a little bit noodly, of course. So all I thought to myself was, man, just jump. So I fired my legs like a rocket. I did the best that I could, and we'll see what the results say.
So that is Arnett taking control and securing a podium. What a Cinderella story. At the last event in Boston, Molly Carlson dropped down from first to third in the final round.
Yeah.
Can she turn those tables today? Her degree of difficulty is lower than Kaylee Arnett's. Carlson needs an average of 8.5 to take the lead. That did look like splashing from above. Can Arnett pull past her? It's good scores, but it's not enough. Straight 8 and 5 points short of the lead.
You know, I struggled on this last dive in Boston, and I just wanted to come out and do it better. I missed my entry yesterday as well, so of course I'm going to go home and fix up these dives, because I know when they're perfect, I can be at the top.
Now, all eyes are on the amateur class. Can the Australian win for the 8th time in a row here in Poliano Amare? This round loves the Italian fans and the atmosphere in this town. The 2023 World Series champion sets up with her hardest dive in the final round. An average of 6 will seal the deal. But this is sport, and you never know what's going to happen.
So there you go, Rena Niff wins. The Polignano Amare magic continues.
High scores from the 5 international judges, and congratulations to Rihanna Niffland. Back-to-back wins following Boston just 2 weeks ago.
That's crazy. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Today I just wanted to go here and do something solid. Super stoked, 2 in a row. Again in Polignano, Marty. I just love it.
Always her rivals offer their appreciation. Everyone knows knowing that we see sport. It means the camaraderie amongst the divers is huge. The final results show the dominance of Ifland, almost 35 points ahead of Arnett and over 40 points ahead of Carlson. That is a statement. He's in 4th place, more than happy, and wildcard Van Katvik is in a great 5th position, the best result ever. Netsiarava needed to pull out after round 1 due to a back injury. Win number 37 out of 46 starts. The Queen of Cliff Diving is working on her legacy. The best dive of the competition goes to Kaylee Arnett with her forward 3 somersaults with a half twist in round 2. That means 1 bonus point is awarded to her overall score. The gap between Ifland and Carlson is getting bigger, and the question is, can the Canadians strike back? Arnett, after 2 second-place finishes, is now in 3rd, and she will have her target on her back this season. In 6th place before his final dive is Aidan Heslop. The Brit is going to need a brilliant performance to make it anywhere near the podium. Nervousness is all around. His degree of difficulty is a 5.7. High scores will propel him ahead. You can almost sense Heslop's dissatisfaction. Across all 4 dives, he expects more from himself.
I thought it was a little bit better than it was. I mean, the takeoff and the repike is what I've been working on a lot. Just a little bit short, and the judges saw that and marked a few points there, but it's slowly moving in the right direction, so I'm happy today.
The 2017 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion, Jonathan Paredes, loves the event here in Polignano Amare. The Mexican already has 3 third-place trophies in his cupboard at home. How far can he go today? That is a great dive. The degree of difficulty is only 4.7, but it is the lead for now. And high scores from the 5 international judges. This is Paredes' Polignano power.
Like my old friend Arjun says one time, I love this place, I love here, I love everyone, you know. I think that it's an amazing place. A lot of feelings, you know, on my mind coming down, on my heart. Yeah, after Boston, like everything is great.
Local hero Andrea Benaba is in 3rd, leading into his final dive. But the Italian youngster needs an average of 10 to take the lead. He has the lowest degree of difficulty in the final round. The 40,000 spectators are willing him on. Well, almost everybody. The scores are good, but he just does not have a high enough degree of difficulty. The 20-year-old drops to 4. And that means Jonathan Paredes is on the podium for the first time since 2019. But it's still a great competition for Andrea Benaba.
The final dive should be better. I train it a lot. I know that for the next competition I have to be better.
Ambitious competitor around. His fighting spirit after enjoying himself in Boston is really remarkable. Paredes looks on edge, as does Popovich's coach. The Romanian is trying to power through the pain.
Popovich working through the injuries. Wow, what an amazing comeback. Just muscling through it. Jonathan Paredes, he appreciates it.
Two divers fighting their own battles, but each can relate to one another. And now, the current World Series leader, James Lichtenstein. His difficulty is lower than Popovich's, so he needs to do something special to take the win. Or will Popovich triumph in Polignano? Back in 2023, at the season finale in Auckland, he was also the final diver and couldn't get his nerves under control. Today, the Romanian knows that's going to be close. James Lichtenstein is happy about his performance, but it's not enough for the win. After the season opener in Greece, another victory for Konstantin Popovich. The American, heartbreakingly, misses out on taking Polignano Amare by 0.25 points.
In New Zealand, I had a chance to win it. I like had a taste of it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I want to get back so bad to that. But today I had a chance, and I was pretty nervous. But put down a good dive. But Costa put down a better dive, so it didn't work out today.
I came here to win, not to play safe. Yeah, I did play a bit safer, but I wanted to deliver a great performance, a good comeback, let's say, because some people say, oh, you're back. I never left. I was always here. So the start is there.
This has been an unbelievably close competition. 0.25 points between Popovich and Lichtenstein, and only 2.7 points between Paredes on the podium and Heslop in fourth. The Italian local hero with a great sixth place, his best result ever. Permanent diver Prigorov sits in ninth. This is just not his season. After his retirement in Boston, Paredes is back on the podium for the first time since 2019.
I was so scared of the situation, and now honestly, just going back and making it into the podium, it's amazing. Like, I really want to cry, but I'm holding it really strong. But yeah, after Boston, having the podium is unreal.
The best dive of the competition is awarded to Andrea Benaba with his inward three somersaults with a half twist from round 2. Another point in the overall standings for the youngster. James Lichtenstein keeps the overall lead, but Popovic is creeping closer. The fight for the King Kahikili trophy will only get tighter and tighter towards the end of the season. Now we travel from Polignano a Mare in Italy to a new location, the Causeway Coast in Northern Ireland. Hot temperatures, great holiday vibes, and an electrifying competition. Polignano a Mare once again did not disappoint. We are 3 competitions into the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, and with 5 more to come, there is more action, more excitement, and more thrills on the horizon. Stay tuned. It only gets better from here.
Proper gravel sectors sustained for the first time ever in the history of the men's Tour de France. Yes, we've been up to little spells at the Plateau des Glières, but this is different. 32 kilometres, the flag waves, it starts now, and the first attacks come. Campanarts is there. Abramson wants to follow again. Of course, it is a very special, poignant, and a day of memoriam too for Norwegian cycling, let's not forget. It's Alexander Kristoff, Victor Campanarts, Abramson's there, and there's a real fight to get up the road. 50 k's an hour at the start. Chris Nailon's not far away too. It's Rui Costa, he was already downing energy gels, Sean, in the neutral.
Yes, well, you can see the way the race just kicks off. 51 kilometers per hour immediately when we get that flag to go racing. You can see here a break forming, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of other riders trying to get across. You can see EF Education just getting on the front there and trying to get across to this one. There's so many riders here want to be in the breakaway, and this is going to be super fast. And yeah, the question is, will they manage to get a strong enough move out the front to be able to pull a group of maybe 6 or 8, 10 riders away? But you can see here a lot of action on the front of the peloton for the moment.
Arnaud Lee is right to the front of the peloton, just around 15 to 20 metres behind. Van der Broek is not far from the front as well, and currently it's a group of 7 who are being eagerly chased by many a team who want to join them. A reminder that the gravel comes thick and fast all day long. Only 47 kilometres until we get to the first sector, and if it's that rapid start that we've just seen happening here, and Sean was expecting anyway, we will be there in no time. Abramson, he talked very briefly there about the special motivation today, that he, each and every day, has been so combative. There he is once more with Christoph, his teammate. At the moment, it is Campanarts here. Tom Scringe is following, but on the podium in Strade Bianche this year, let's not forget. Nélance makes it through. La Peira, French champion, starts to attack behind as well. Quite a lumpy start for the first 10Ks. See, they're not long hills, are they? But they're hills nonetheless.
Well, they're definitely leg testers here. You can see, going at almost 50 kilometers per hour there on a little bit of uphill, and you can see the way the peloton is stretched out here, just a long line, and out front
these attacks going off the front rapidly here, and you can see the teams here, the mixture of riders. No team with a number of riders together trying to control here. This is going to be a difficult start in the first number of kilometres to try and get in the breakaway. First breakaway attempt has been brought back. Israel Premier Tech launching the second, trying to follow Stefan Bissiger. Yesterday it was all about EF for the first 30 kilometres, wasn't it? Bissiger and Paulus were up there, and they're to the fore again here. And we heard from Andreas Clear, speaking to Hannah Walker right at the start of the programme, that today each and everybody is their own leader.
That was telling everybody, look after yourself. But in some teams, yes, EF education, it's a different situation for them compared to the GC teams and the men who are up here in the general classification. They have a big job. We spoke to some of the riders there before the start, and it's all about the leader today. Try and mind him and be around him in case there's a mechanical problem, crashes, all of that. But some teams' objective is try and just blast this race out from the start and go and try and get into breakaway and see will there be a calm. And if there's a calm down, then you could get a number of minutes, and that's what a lot of teams want. And of course, to win this day, this would be a dream for a lot of riders to win this over the gravel sandy roads.
For the most stage like we've ever had like this in the Tour in history. Last time it was Marlon Royce for the Tour de France 2 years ago. In terms of the GC on that day, there was only really Mari Garcia who lost out. It more was an error of the car than anybody else. So there's hope for GC riders, but they still have to be very careful. There's very different aims. You're talking about winning it, Sean. A lot are just talking about trying to get through it.
Well, there's huge difference in what the teams are thinking here, depending on what your qualities are or who the riders you've got in the team. And looking at the past as well, you can never take much out of the past, whether it's in the women's or the men's race. And when you go back, we see Viango. The last time we rode the cobbles, he was in major difficulty. The team had to do a huge job to rectify that. And, that's going to be in the minds of the riders, not have a mechanical at the wrong time. And if you have a mechanical, have the manpower around you who can, correct that situation and get you back into the front end of the race. So, all of that is in the mind. And we did hear from Jens there in a 3-week tour, this sort of stage, should it be in there, should it not be in there? That's another day, that's a long debate, but here we are. We're in this situation. The riders, the teams have to get on with it, and you have to be up there in the front of the race when you get onto those gravel sections, because the fight for place, that is going to be important. If you can have a good team around you, get into the front of the race onto the first section of gravels, well then you're in a great position. You can pick a line a bit more, but if you're in 50th, 70th position, then it's more difficult.
The placement before and onto the sectors just as, if not more important than any movement or momentum on them. And it's movement and momentum yet again for Ben Healy here at the front, who's being chased by Stefan Küng, Jasper Sturver, Mate Mohoric, Arnaud Dully, and it's like watching the classics in March.
Yes, a lot of classics men here, and a mixture of riders here, but you can see the way they're looking around, and who's chasing, have we got a gap there, and we can see Ben Healy, he's a fighter. When he gets to the front of the peloton, he just drives it on, pulls it. Sometimes I think he's pulling a bit too much. When you look at the situation, you have to wait and choose your opportunities and the occasion to go, see who's going the moves. And today, there's so many people going the moves, you have to be experienced and be very selective, because if you make too many moves here in the first 25 kilometres, well then your day could be done and you've burned a lot of candles.
Starting and finishing in Troyes today, very well known for the Simon family, riders, generations of riders from Troyes, and the late Armand de las Cuevas, who was also from Troyes, left us just a couple of years ago.
Well, that family, of course, the Simon brothers, Pascal, Regis, Jerome, Francois, all had very good careers. And Pascal was a leader in the Tour de France. I was in that tour, and I remember
Yeah, there was a little bit of side wind, a little bit of jostling for positions. He went down and broke his collarbone or his shoulder, I can't remember. And yeah, that was really a disappointing one for him. But yeah, that's family. They have big history in cycling.
Little bit of a move at the front. We've been looking at the back of Sandy Dujardin. He had a fall yesterday. He's got that left wrist bandaged up. He's trying to soldier on for the moment. Next move here with Lapira trying to get in it again, and once more it's EF Education easy push just at the top of the hill round the corner here. We try to get away, but Total Energy send a man up the road. As do for the first time, Sudar Quickstep just on the wheels and chasing.
Yes, looks like the classic man, of course, Lampard maybe. And they are going to be an interesting one because with Remco Evenepoel, you know, very much in this race for the fight to try and win it or get a very good place at the end, and they're going to have a big job as well, look after him. And yeah, some teams might use the tactic, okay, if we can put a man into the move, then he's up there and, you know, get through the fourth sections and then he can be there in the end. So there's all that, you know, different tactics that different teams are going to try and play.
We've been racing for almost 10 kilometres, and there's a group of 5 to 6 riders ever so slightly with a gap right now, but they're being chased. Movistar want to be involved today. UAE Emirates are at the front. They've not actively tried to place a rider in a move yet, but they have been monitoring. It's not often they do that at the start of a race like this. Costa moving towards the front left-hand side, pink helmet on. 7 seconds for the group up the road as Lotto Destiny send the rider here. And this is the group at the moment, containing Nielsen Paulus in the pink, Romain Grégoire for Groupama, Derek G. Now that's an interesting one. Alongside Paul Lapera here, the French champion. Gareth Drisnes is the Lotto Destiny rider on the left-hand side, only known Belgium in that team this year. Well, Derek G being up the road. It's an extremely interesting one. He's at 5 minutes 52 in the GC. Can't imagine there'll be alarm bells ringing behind, but it's a guy who's inside the top 15 in the GC trying to get in the breakaway there, Sean.
Yes, well, I don't think the alarm bells will be ringing because Jerry G is up there. The alarm bells will be ringing for the teams that want to be in the breakaway, and I think there's quite a lot of them here, you know, still to show and try and get up the road. But again, it's an interesting one. You never know at what point a lot of these teams will, you know, manage to get a few riders together on the front and start closing it down, and then you could have a difficulty. If it grows out of that 20, 30 second advantage for the breakaway, then it gets to be a problem one, but we can see a lot of action still from the front of the peloton.
Movistar, Uno X, EF Education, Easy Boat, and Healy's following this one again. Movistar have already tried to launch Lascano once before. And this is travelling very quickly indeed. Just 6 seconds for those who managed to break out. And here they are, 5 of them. G, Paulus, Grégoire, Lapera and Drisnes. Best place being G, as we mentioned, at 5:52. There he is with 135 on his back and that blue jersey. Flicking his elbow with a pink on there, Nielsen Paulus, the American. And this is Drisnes, the man from down under.
Well, the first sector is raining down upon us. You can already see the cloud being kicked up here. Now, if this is only a 1 star, it means that it's the least difficult of the sort of terrain that we're going to be dealing with. No wonder the likes of Patrick Lefebvre, when it came to Paris Tour, they adopted this kind of terrain, said we're not coming back until you drop it. Well, they've never been back since because it's never been dropped. Who's going to get dropped right now? That's the big question, Danny. Here we go.
Here we go. This is the first section then. It's only a 1 star, but look at the dust that the motorbikes have picked up here as well.
1 star sector, but with a 5-star entry, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Such a quick entry into this first sector. So it'll be interesting to see who's made the front of that peloton behind. They will be flying into this sector here.
Well, that is a sign there. So Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, they've got themselves in front in control and then drop the speed down really carefully around the corner because they're not trying to chase this straight, they're just trying to protect Primoz Roglic and their traffic jam.
Suddenly backed right up. It's exactly what happens. You get a compression, both laterally and longitudinally, I guess you might say. Suddenly the pace is ripped out of it, and those who find themselves at the back find themselves in trouble as well. This is not a happy place to be, Robbie.
No, and Aramburu on the move now, the Spanish champion going up the road and following the move of the Cofidis rider. Couldn't quite pick up who it was, but it might have been Axel Zingler. Again, he's been active all stage so far. Red Bull Bora trying to just keep things under control, maintain position. All they want to do is get Primoz Roglic at the front of the group.
Yeah, 3 of the big 4 at the front that I spotted. Couldn't quite pick out in that kind of front little bubble in that peloton, so it'll be interesting to see where he's found himself into this first sector.
This is the just kicked up by the camera bike as you're seeing it right now. I was just about to say that thankfully the wind is favouring those further back. If you're up front, you're getting the dust kicked in your face by the camera bike. I think we should possibly rely on the helicopter, and maybe that's what the director's saying. But get the camera bikes out, and you can see them sprinting away from those out front because they're hampering them. If you look at the way the wind's blowing at the moment, it's taking the dust over to the left-hand side of the riders. Those who are being filmed in close proximity don't have that gift, Robbie.
No, it's equally as hard as riding the gravel. If not harder, is the dust that's kicked up by the race vehicles in front. I'd love to see them take a lot more distance, yes, because this is hampering the riders so much. You know, you see just from a motorbike how much dust is coming up, let alone all the vehicles going in front. And because the gap is very small between brake and peloton, the riders at the front of the peloton actually have really nice clean air to ride through. But if you're at the very front of the race or trying to chase across with a motorbike camera in front, you are choking.
You are Ballerini making the trip here. The camera bike just trying to get a little bit more distance, as you can see. If that is the easiest sector, Danny, not through it just yet. You can see it counting down. Still got 100 metres or so for those who are at the front. And finally, they get some relief right now as it pans out. You can see how lumpy the terrain is as well. But if that was the easiest, Lord help us.
I mean, it's going to be carnage, isn't it? And like you said there, Carlton, straight on to the first QM of the day. 1.7 kilometres at 5.2% average. Let's just see.
There's Lascano. He's also got a teammate. Sorry, there was Aramburu. He's got Lascano up in the front. So Movistar already sort of activating their 2 protected riders for this stage. At least in our minds, they are classics types to go off the front, but a strong front group. But also up there now, Jasper Stuyven has made the move into that group, and that is a absolute pure classics rider.
Well, these 90-degree turns to get onto it and then get off it, I think you should have added another star just for that. I don't think they expected, perhaps, Danny, for the entire peloton to still be together on that transition onto that first part of gravel.
No, but you could see as soon as they got onto the gravel, I just saw a little hand gesture from the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rider who was at the front, just to try and calm things down a little bit to the team of UAE, and you could see the composition really changed. First puncher.
There we are. Won't be the last. My goodness me. Well, it's Elking, who's just being dealt with right now. Meanwhile, Brian Coquard on board with him in the cars. You know, it's not whether you're going to get bad luck today. It's just how much of it, Robbie.
Yeah, when you're going to get it, and you know what sort of assistance you can get. Speaking of that, I've been told by a source close to us here at Eurosport with Primoz Roglic and his Red Bull Bora team that Sobrero is the closest match to bike fit for Roglic, but on every sector they have 4 people covering all bases, spare wheels, spare bikes, you name it, they've got it. So it's a cast of thousands out there today as far as team assistance goes.
Ballerini just distanced by Alexander Bora and Zingler for Cofidis. Up front we have Reinders, Stuyven, Vermeersch, Nielsen Paulus, Maxim van der Kiels. We have Derek G, who's been very active from the very beginning of today. Oilas Cano is there, so is Javier Romo. Alexei Lutsenko has had one of the quietest tours so far that's been upon his books. The man has had top 10s on a couple of occasions in GC by the end of the tour, always warms up within it. Well, running hot today, he's with Anthony Turgis Ben Healy and Tom Pidcock, that's a very, very good pairing. Sean Kelly will have a smile across his visage, I can tell you, whenever Ben Healy's name is mentioned. But it looks like, at least for the time being, a little bit of a holding pattern. Is that after the first wake-up call, Danny?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, these riders at the front haven't lost any time. They've been punctured, so they're just going to be trying to keep position on the road here. It's these two riders now, and Tom Pidcock and Ben Healy. Ben Healy's been trying for a couple of days, hasn't he? He has been super, super aggressive. So they'll be really happy with this move, as will Ineos Grenadiers. They'll be looking after Carlos Rodriguez, of course, but Tom Pidcock could be a great rider for today with his expertise on the gravel, of course, and it'll make up so much time on all of the corners with his bike handling skills.
Well, he's got to get across first. Well, look, they're trying which way to get across. So grass, gravel, you name it, they'll ride it. But Pidcock trying to go across with Ben Healy. Healy's got a teammate up there in Nielsen Paulus, who was part of the original break of the day. But Ben Healy, he's making a contribution. He's going to work with Pidcock to get across, because having two in the break is better than having one, even though he's bringing the likes of Tom Pidcock with him.
Yes, indeed. Interesting as well that before the day started, we're trying to figure out, with a classic like this imposed upon a tour, what kind of rider's going to thrive on it. And it's great to see Romain Bardet with a bit between his teeth, the man who, of course, opened up the joy for France with victory into Rimini at the start of this race. Seems an awful long time ago now, almost another Grand Tour altogether. Well, he's having another dig, and that kind of underscores what we're saying about the difficulty in picking what kind of rider will thrive today. 147 kilometres then remaining, and we start to think inexorably about our next challenge down the road. It will be the gravel road of Baroville, and that goes on for 1,200 metres. We've got our intermediate sprint sandwiched as well between all the nastiness today. Danny, this is fabulous.
Yeah, it is fabulous. And this is what we wanted to see. It's going to be a spectacle, isn't it, from start to finish. You cannot take your eyes off this screen, but like you said, it's going to be that next sector, which is the first three-star sectors, so one of the hardest. It is on a climb as well, so yeah, we've got riders all over the road here. Riders trying to make that front group. Axel Zingel.
Wow. Our average pace, by the way, is 3 kilometres per hour, faster than the quickest projected pace. Robbie, nobody expected it to be this quick, and I think they thought it'd be a bit more thinned out by the time we got to the first of our challenges. There's no sign of it diminishing, the drive today.
Okay, Carlton, I'm going to be honest and say I expected it to be this quick. The aggression from the get-go, I think, was always going to be there. Riders trying to get in a break, those who are nervous about the stage or just licking their lips at and the dust off their lips eventually at the prospect of winning a Tour de France stage and getting out there in what is shaping up like a true one-day classic. It's just raining attacks constantly now, and teams who have missed out getting in the break are still scrambling. And even Michael Matthews going again. He does have Elmar Anders, his teammate, the Dutchman, up front in the group.
Hugo Parish, one of those from Intermarché Wanty, would have an option today. Lawrence Rex was so busy at the beginning of today. He's no longer part of the front group, but Parish wants to fold over and have a dig. Mike Turnus will, of course, be another of their golden cards to play today. But Danny, every single team has got significant riders who could be a feature today, and I think that explains really the pace that we've had right from the start.
Yeah, of course, and not only that, but the makeup of the team selected for this Tour de France as a whole would have been selected on this stage especially as well, looking at the ways in which these riders could look after their GC contenders.
Welcome back, everybody. Just under 135 kilometres to go. Abramson on a mission, as certainly has been throughout this entire race. Hatchu joins us now.
Thanks, Colton. 4Ks to go, and UAE Emirates protecting their men at the front. Another acceleration from the back, and out of the back of this group, we just saw Nielsen Paulus drop back to help Ben Healy. He's now trying to pilot both Healy and Pidcock up to the front. In the meantime, there's a little look down at the bike from Elmar Anders. Pidcock here, a reminder, he's won Strade Bianche, been the cyclocross world champion, the Olympic mountain bike world champion. Here he is, and he's trying desperately to be at the front. Adam, Tom Pidcock came to look at this stage as early as November. He's had his eye on it.
He's had his eye on it, Rob, and quite rightly so. You just mentioned his results and his achievements that he's had, and this stage does suit him. It's one that he'll enjoy, and I think for Tom Pidcock, that is the main thing. We know how excited he does get about ride racing. You can see that in the different disciplines that he does, and today, if you're in that front group, you've got chance of a win. Tom's enjoyment and his passion and love for the sport will really show within his performance of doing that. Sliding around on the gravel, taking risks, being able to use his bike handling skills to the maximum capabilities that he's got. That's what he loves doing. And when you're happy and you're having fun on the bike, especially a rider like Tom, that's when you can get to your best. That's when you can get to that highest level. So, yeah, they're almost on the back of that group, but the effort that they've got to make through this wouldn't surprise me if Powell's the effort he's had to make to bring this back. When you get on to the next section, he is really going to struggle, because this isn't about Howler staying in the group, it's about getting Healy in the group and then doing what he can for Healy. It's showing who is important and who is the leader within that EF team today.
It's incredible in the peloton, and every time we look, we think it calms down, and there's another move, yet another jump. By the way, you talked about the next sector. It's approaching, and very quickly, the front of the race. They're now just 1.3 kilometers away from sector 13, and rather like in Paris-Roubaix, they are reverse numbering the sectors. So we started at 14, we go to one, and Jonas Abrahamsen moves again, as we remember the late, great Raymond Poulidor.
I think Van der Poel's not really trying to help himself there today, Rob. You know, we've seen him like jumping in a few moves, following the moves, but he will have a target on his back today. You know, he's got Gianni Vermeers, the gravel world champion 2 years ago, the first ever gravel world champion, I believe. So he's in a group, and it's a great rider to have in that group. But for Van der Poel, he will be marked out today, as he is within a classic, but completely ridden differently. As you see, Pidcock, Healy and Powell pretty much getting on the back of that group. But just look at Healy, just that gap opening up ever so slightly. As I said, the effort they'll have to make, or have to make, to get into this group will be huge. And the riders within the group, they will try and force them to come through quickly. They don't want them to give them time to recover ahead of this gravel section. They want to put them under stress. They want to force them to come through and make them work hard.
Not just a gravel section as well. This is a really tough section. 3 kilometres at about 4% average. So will Powellers be able to hang on? You would say it's perfect timing to make this junction for this group.
Alex Aramburu twisting and turning. We're approaching the second of the 14 sectors. 32 kilometres in total off-road today, and this group, just in time, has joined together. There are now 14 riders at the front with over 2 minutes, 2:25 in fact, back to the yellow jersey group. This is Mohoric, current gravel world champion, and now we begin our next classified climb. 2.8 k's to the top, and it comes just after the end of this particular gravel sector. So Côte de Varoville, including the gravel sector in it, and we said that it doesn't always look like Strada Bianca today. This is one of the sectors where it does. It's up, and you can see already you have to be in the right place, but you have to have the watts as well here, Adam.
You've got to have the watts as well, and this is a really difficult situation for the riders now. Within this group, they've got 3 Movistar riders, so if you're the likes of Pidcock, who's just got on, you can almost force the Movistar riders to do more. Both of them are doing the work, but they need a real leader within this group. They need one person to work for, and I can imagine it's Lozano, you know. He's won on the gravel race in Spain there, that they had a fantastic performance. He's shown himself good throughout all the classics this year. But at this point here, they're pushing on so hard. They've still got 131 k's to go. They can afford just to sit back a bit, not get too stressed, not get too carried away, and just get one of the riders. You know, you've got Javier Romo on the front right now. He can set that tempo of these gravel sections that lets the likes of Lozano just sit on the wheel and have that little bit more, not recovery through it, but just an easier ride through these gravel sections. That Stuyven, he's not having the best of times here.
Also been dropped, so that effort of getting those across, but Ben Healy is ready. That was the plan for EF.
I feel it's all going to look very different by the time they get to the top in that front group. There were big differences of being able to stay or not. Next group, second group on the road at 1:25 now. They're calling it the Dully group, but there are other superstars here like Magnus Kort, from T2. But Romain Bardet is in there as well. Davide Ballerini, who is an Omloop at Newsblad winner. Stuart too. 24 up there for and this at the left-hand side. Look at how difficult it is just to keep it upright.
This is a problem. So you can see where the car tracks have been. On the cobbles, you don't ride where the cars have been. You ride in the middle of it. That's the smoothest section, because on the cobbles, the cars kick the cobbles around and make them rougher. On this, where the cars have been, it makes it smoother. So if you get caught from left to right and you hit a deeper gravel patch, that's when what happens, like it happened to Ballerini, then you slip and slide, can't get the traction that you need.
Now this is a fight at the front of those chasing on. This is one of the most important parts of today's stage, Danny. You can see first and second in the GC in the last few years. Visma and UAE, first and third at the moment, fighting for position for each and every gravel sector.
Yeah, and both of those teams that you mentioned are doing a perfect job for their leaders, making sure they're at the front. Few gaps though developing here on the left for the team of UAE, so Tadej Pogačar is going to have to pick his line here. Carnage at the back.
And this is why you fight for position at the front, because if you're stuck behind anybody who has an issue, you are going to be struggling. We've got riders running on the left-hand side. We've seen that the left is not the place to be on this sector. That is why Pogačar's over to the right. This Melisabite knew that you had to be over to the right-hand side. And this is carnage. This is chaos. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe with Nico Denz running on the left-hand side. 74, Mikel Landa doing the same. Wout van Aert in issues as well. Oh my word.
Where's Roglic? I've not seen Roglic yet. Tadej Pogačar's there just a little bit further back. Jonas Vingegaard's there moving up with Tief van Aert just in front of him. I saw Remco, I believe he's just there, just the second man at the back of that shot in the white jersey, but I have not seen Roglic as of yet.
Well, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe had issues. They might have bigger ones by the end of this sector because there are several of their riders caught up. We've already seen Denz running. This is Van Poppel on the left-hand side. Adolf van Wildert, who, by the way, is supposed to be staying close to Remco Evenepoel, the same bike fit, is right at the back of the peloton, clipped out, trying to get going again.
It's almost impossible as well to gain that traction on these gravel sections. If you've had to pull your foot out, you could see it's absolute chaos behind as Michael Matthews is about to get swamped up by this group, taking control of Visma.
Rob, no Roglic. No
not in
Roglic
this
within
shot
that group.
at all, and there's a gap behind. Mathieu van der Poel is at the back of it. I'm looking at Giulio Ciccone. He's following on nicely. In there you can see Carlos Rodriguez isn't badly placed. Evenepoel is well placed right next to the yellow jersey. Vingegaard's been perfectly looked after, but Roglic is the early victim here. It is not fatal yet, but let's have a look. He's 100 metres behind Mathieu van der Poel on this picture.
No Remco either in this front
Remco's
group.
in there.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. White jersey on, right next to Tadej Pogačar. He has Gianni Moscon to help him here.
Look at the team of Visma Lease though. You know, they've got the riders, they've got the people that know how to attack these stages, know how to get in position. We've seen how dominant they have been in the classics before, and that is exactly what they're doing.
There's Roglic. Here is Primož Roglic, and he's in this next group travelling along, around 100 metres difference on the road. Looking around there is Sobrero. He wants a little bit of help. He's the man who we're hearing from a little early on. He's the closest bike fit. He's the man who has to stay alongside Roglic. Now, let's have a look what it looks like. Oh, that is bigger. That is bigger than 100 metres now, Adam. And Primož Roglic could be in huge trouble here.
Primož Roglic looks like it could be in huge trouble. They're just getting off the gravel section now, so they'll keep accelerating. I think Visma Leasebike in the situation that they're in now, look at the strength in numbers they've got right towards the front. Look at the amount of riders they've got to work through and off, and they are doing. Keeping it on the gas at the front. Interesting to see there that the Red Bull rider was sat second wheel in Roglic's group, and he wasn't pulling immediately. He had a rider along next to him, and he was looking over his shoulder. They're not panicking as of yet. There is a lot of road in between these sections, but they are going to have to ride hard with the way that Visma Leasebike are riding on the front of that group. They are not here to play today.
Visma Leasebike as well, you take a very close look at their team. It's a classics team. You've got Tish Benoit, who's won Strade Bianche, Matteo Jorgensen, who's taken Dwars door Vlaanderen, Kent Wevelgem for Christophe Laporte, Wout van Aert, the cyclocross world champion on several occasions, and Cobble Gobbler on other days as well, plus Jan Tratnik, who's also won the Omloop at Newsblad.
Oi, 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 the lead.
And this is the lead.
Not good for him, the lead. Sorry,
Too much
Rob.
too soon, sorry, Adam. But, I mean, he's full gas. He's been full gas since the start, trying to get in that group. But when you are full gas onto a climb like that's been, and then you just hit the red zone, the best thing for him to do is just realise it's on behind it and then sit up, get that breath back. Just to note there, Tadej Pogacar got 4 teammates with him. He's got Adam Yates there, he's got Almeida there, he's got Marc Soler there with him as well. So he has got that strength in numbers. Remco has only got Gianni Moscon in there as well. And obviously with Melissa Bike, the big 4 that we're looking at, they have got strength in numbers. Tief Benoot right towards the back of that group. Rodriguez has made it from Ineos. That looks like Kevin, I've forgotten his second name, apologies. Brocalan in the background with another teammate behind him. Pale Bill Bowes in there as well towards the front with Matej Mohoric from Bahrain. So the big riders we're expecting to be up there today, they are all there, apart from Roglic. Roglic is travelling with a gap of 35 seconds at the minute, Danny. Again, the alarm bells are going off, but they're not panicking. But something needs to be done quickly.
Yeah, of course it does. This is going to be really stressful for that team, losing time to that front group. You can see Visma are going to do all they can here to try and make it a really hard job for the Red Bull Hansgrohe team. But stress for that team nonetheless. Tadej Pogacar, the difference here is for these riders now, of course they're going to try and apply the pressure and keep it on, but psychologically it's going to be so much less stressful for them versus Roglic behind.
I think, Rob, one of the reasons that they're keeping it on like this is to keep it strung out. They're not necessarily doing it to gap Roglic, they're doing it like they can take control. We mentioned this in our show this morning that Remco, the best thing for him would be to do is to stretch things out, to keep it on, to keep him in that good position. Jonas Vingegaard now has got the easiest ride in terms of he's got his teammates around him, it's a small group, the other teams will let them do the work so he can stay in that good position, and that's all they're doing. They're not trying to create that gap, they're just trying to make it as easy as possible as they can for Jonas Vingegaard.
Looks like Ben Turner wants to come to the front and contribute because the Ineos Grenadiers are in a position where they can gain. You're watching stage 9 of the Tour de France, and it is chaos. Beautiful, disorganized, entertaining, aggressive chaos. It's a champagne finish to the end of the first block of racing. We've not even popped the corks yet, but this is fizzing up a heck of a lot. Visma Lease Bike putting Primož Roglic in trouble. He's just saved the day for the first time. He is back in this group now. I think he has Jai Hindley with him. But on the last look, there might not be anybody else. Let's see. He looked to be more or less alone. Two other riders now get back. Sobrero being one of them, Vlasov being the other. Pogacar's always been here. UAE have responded much better than they did the other day when the wind was blowing. And Visma Lease Bike at the moment with their classics team, with the winner of Strade Bianche and Kuurne in Benoot, Glasgow, Vlaanderen and champion Jorgensen, Laporte, Geen Heuvel, Geen Star, Omloop Nieuwsblad, Jaap Tratnik, and now after this group is back on, Wout van Aert, classic superstar, they have been teaching everybody else a lesson. It's 1 minute and 33 behind a group of 12 riders all the way to the yellow jersey group. The next group on the road, Renders, Kung, Rousseau, Paulus, Stewart, Balde, Ballerini and Court. It's just at the top of your picture and they're on their way to being caught. Things are getting a little more simple in terms of telling everybody what the groups are, where they are, but we've only had 2 of the 14 sectors. The next is on the way in the next 10 kilometres. I'm Rob Hatch and sat alongside Danny Rowe and Adam Blythe, and this is something very special.
This is a proper day out. This is proper racing, you know, not just for the stage win, but also for the GC. It's been a long time since we've seen anything go as crazy as like it has done already. And the drama that's happening, you know, Roglic in there doing the work on his own to bring a group back with his rivals in there. There is so much happening, so many tactics being played for the stage win with this group out at the front of 137 in front of the yellow jersey group. And you've got the politics and who's going to ride, which teammates where within that chasing group with the yellow jersey in there as well. There's almost 2 races on the hands, but that second race for the GC, we've obviously got the stage win, but I think for that race for GC behind, if there's an opportunity to take time today, brilliant. But the main thing is to finish with your rivals, not to lose time. And that can be out of a lot of guys' control today with the look of the draw with the gravel roads, sadly.
Look how hard this day's been as well. Fabio Jakobsen here with 2 of his teammates, the DSM confirming it post now. Still an average speed of 48 kilometres an hour. The back door is open. The peloton is hugely reduced already, and we've only had 2 gravel sections. This is brilliant.
Babu Jakobsen there was the back of the race. You could just see the voiture ballet, the groom wagon right at the back. And as soon as the yellow jersey group catches the lot, the attack starts again. But I'll tell you what, 1 minute 37 is quite the gap to bridge. At the front, we've got 2 former Tour de France stage winners in Lutsenko and Pidcock. They're joined by Sturven, Vermeers, Healy, Van Gils, G, Zingler, Aramburu, Lascano, Romo and Turgis. And now they're active again. They've been active all day. They've not been able to do much. This is Dan McClay of Arcaire Samsic, or Arcaire BMB.
Good little move. Very good little move. He's got Magnus Core with him again. I'm just having a look through and the tech rider. He's obviously got Derek G in there. We saw Jake Stewart previously. But that's this point now, you know, where it's all back to around going, we're not going to ride into a headwind anymore. We need to be fresh for the next section. We need to make sure we get into that next section of gravel in the best position with our team leader, with Jonas Vingegaard. And that slowing has allowed the riders to start again, to try and get ahead again. GC teams will start to try and take advantage of it. Matthew Van der Poel moving up to the front now with one of his teammates just in front of him. Hey, looks good that wide, doesn't it? I knew you'd like that. Of course I do, come on. Looks mint. Fashionistas live returns. Just on the pool returning to the front of the race. Alpecin de Koenig, they're going for a long spell, a drought for them in Grand Tour racing without winning a stage at the start here. And I say that as a compliment to them because we are used to whenever they've been racing and winning in most weeks of Grand Tour racing since they began. So, here we are, Espoir, and we're going to go down to Hannah.
The run into Sector 11 is exposed, it's fast, you come off a main road, and just behind me, this is where they'll make the right-hand turn. They'll enter the sector with high speeds of 50-55 kilometres per hour. We're only 2.3 kilometres from the top of the 4th category, King of the Mountain of the Day, so you do climb along this sector. The big thing for me that I've noticed, having seen some of the other sectors, is this particular sector, whilst it's a 3rd-star sector and it's over 3 kilometres long, it's way more compact in comparison to some of the other sectors where it's essentially stones. Also, I think they filled in some of the potholes along here on this sector.
Thanks, Hannah. We'll be sending you to Lords next. Take the keys along with you. Pitch report from Hannah Walker there on Sector 11. Brilliant stuff from on the ground. Sector 11 is one of the most difficult, as is Sector 10. Next up, Sector 12. This, on paper, slightly easier. It's shorter, 1.4 kilometres long. But the 2 sectors after that, said to be the most difficult in terms of climbing and gravel all bunched together. So keep your eyes on it. And by the way, you big fans of the gravel sectors is what you've come for today. We've just gone through the longest period without a gravel sector in the race. They will now come thick and fast once you return off-road. The final sector today finishes with just 6.5 kilometres to the finish line.
You have to look here, Rob, and the front of this group, the riders that are in it, you've got to take your hats off to the riders. Tom Pidcock, he's the rider that wants to win today's stage. He's managed to get himself in the breakaway. Stuyven, he's won many a classics. A monument in Milan-San Remo, he's made it in there. Johnny Vermeer, ex-gravel world champion, he's made it in there. Ben Healy, we all knew he was the man of the day for EF. Then you got Derek G, a man that was second in the Dauphiné leading into this race. Axel Zingler, cyclocross rider. Aramburu in there, but I think they're supporting Lascano, a man that was up there in the classics massively, so he's got 2 other riders in there to support him. Alexei Lutsenko, 7th in Strada Bianca in 2019, and then Turgis, an absolutely solid rider. All the riders in there today feel to me like they're exactly each rider that each team wanted to be in that front group. It is one heck of a front group, that is.
In this group, more teammates are coming back for certain riders, including for Primož Roglic at Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. But as we've just been seeing, it's not too far to the next sector now. Not too long to get organised. What is happening, though, Adam, you were just talking about how good that front group is. The gap's growing slightly. It's 1:44 having come down previously to around a minute and a half.
It is, if you look at this now, so it's a headwind coming into this next section. So we saw Vismalisa Bike, we saw Ineos Grenadiers, and who was the other? And Johnny Moscon from Quickstep riding on the front hard to try and stretch that gap. Now it's all come back together, taking a back seat, because no one needs or wants to ride that hard into a headwind. So a little bit of small peloton. That'll be so the riders recover enough. Give them chance to get the food. A very nice bridge, the narrow bridge, sorry here, river bridge as well, Danny. So when they come, the riders will come into this, and this is a point where they'll want to be in positioning. So they need to be able to accelerate in that peloton into it. They need to have riders that can really drive up the tempo, string things out. And that's why we're seeing that gap just ever so slightly go out. That peloton is just trying to recover for it.
A little narrow bridge there. We talk about this being like the classics. Reminds me of the Moorland there, that. You've got to be in position when you get to the bottom.
It's great, this kind of racing, though. The tactics involved today, the tactics even within this group now, what each rider's thinking, everyone not knowing how each of the other riders are feeling, so trying to just judge that, do what they can to try and take less wind at one point, do the least amount of work at one point while trying to get the other riders rolling. Then you've got this group chasing you behind that's going to speed up, slow down in between gravel sections as well. Judging your effort today is going to be absolutely key, especially in this final 50k, and especially when they get onto Section 8, arguably the hardest section in this stage today.
Producer Doug reminds me, it's great when you're watching it, not necessarily when you're riding.
Oh no, like even when you're riding it, it's great. These days on the bike like this,
Save the man who never had to make the
it depends what kind of rider you are, isn't it? And if you would absolutely love the day like today, add a little bit of wind in there and you've been rubbing your hands together.
Just in that gutter. An inch is all you need at the end of that gutter, and it can make a difference.
Now, we talked about Simon Yates earlier on, not having the best start in the general classification for this Tour de France. He started in 17th place at 6:01. He's currently a minute behind the yellow jersey group. He's travelling with Richard Carapaz, who of course was in the yellow jersey, but we were told not to expect too much from him. 7 minutes 57 down. Now you're thinking perhaps going for stage wins later in the race. He was on the attack earlier on as we're over the Molenberg Bridge. Slightly bigger this one. Yes, Danny, a proper river bridge. And up the hill they go.
I tell you what, Ira Hansen is some rider, isn't he? I mean, in the break yesterday alone, and he's right at the front, and it looks like he's got Magnus Kort protecting him, and obviously they've got mountain points coming up, and that's very important. He's trying to grab them, but you've got to take your hat off to him after yesterday's effort. He is flying.
He's a monster, isn't he? And we've been talking about it, how he put on 20 kilos. He was so malnourished that he delayed the onset of puberty and also grew 6 centimetres when he started fueling his body properly. I mean, it's working, isn't it?
I tell you what, I could put on 20 kilos easy. That is no achievement whatsoever.
What's the situation behind those ex-riders moving up around Jonas Abrahamsen? Now we know that cycling is a really close-knit community in the world of Norwegian cycling even more so, and what happened yesterday with Andre Dreger really hits hard. No words to explain, but there's empathy, there's support, and there is love. And of course we're sending all of that as a unit, as a team, supporting everybody in Norwegian cycling. There's black armbands on the sleeves of all of the Norwegian and the Uno X riders are there in memoriam, and to remember the late Andre Dreger. .103 kilometers to go. And it's starting to string out in this Yates and Carapaz group. Cars being pulled out as they're being forced to close that gap, Adam.
That's Yatesy on the front. Simon Yates is bringing this back himself. Dylan Groenewegen was the man that was doing the work, but Yatesy, within touching distance, almost, let's not forget that gap, 224 to 138. That's the front of that group. But on a small climb like this,
if you can make the difference on your own like Yates again, this is the place that he has to do it, and that's why we can see him getting on the front, driving it hard, bringing it back himself. We can see here, these guys look like they're taking it relatively easy compared to what Simon Yates does, but this is the effort he has to make.
Lipat po yun naman po sa 513, lilipat po siya sa 365, paalis na lang po.
Assistance here. Dusty chain. Yeah. I'm sure that's a technical term for it. No, I was going to speak more about that, but I'm not going to, so I don't want to get anyone into trouble. Oh.
Okay na po, si Kuya Ariel na lang daw.
Didn't say anything.
Ariel.
I have to say, Rob, sorry, I was just about to say talk about UAE there. UAE, we've criticised them a little bit recently for the team that's been here and not in those crucial moments. So far they have been, but you look at the workload they've had to do. They've not really had to do anything as of yet. You know, they're riding on the front now with Tim Wellens, but they've not been driving the pace, they've not been driving the tempo. Yes, they've been positioning Tadej into climbs, but they've not had to ride so far. They've not had to control anything. They've just had to look after Tadej, which is difficult, but they're getting an easy ride so far. On to the start of Sector 12 we go, and this is the lead of Stage 9 of the Tour de France. We've had the longest interlude since we started the gravel tracks, but the Chemin Blanc are about to return. Tom Pidcock through the centre. Left-hand side as we look at it, the Lidl Trek multicoloured jersey that's unzipped belongs to Jasper Stuyver, and on the right-hand side Javier Romo, who's enjoying supporting Aramburu and Lascano. Off the tarmac, onto the gravel, a lead of 1:29 over the yellow jersey. This is 1.5 kilometres long as Aramburu returns from the car.
Just to note there as well, Robert talks about Stuyver and how he can handle himself in a groove and how to save energy. One very little thing he did there is on that climb started right at the front and then just drifted back. Only 2, 3, 4 places, but you compare that to the guys who are behind and accelerating to try and make sure that at the front of the group, just drifting back just 10, 15, 20 watts less. If he does that throughout the day on each and every single one of these climbs, you imagine how much energy he's saving, and that's what you need to look at, the small little details if you're in that group today. It will come down to small details at the finish.
It looks as though they'll be really fighting now for the positions coming into this behind, because the gap is starting to come down seriously again. It's 1:15 behind. We can't see the yellow jersey group, but they will be fighting for position. You can see now, Visma Lisabike, top of your screen, UAE Emirates through the centre, and it's with them we're going to the radio now.
Guys, all together now, all close to today. You are Wow, Adam, Juan. We need to start next sector in front.
It is UAE who start the sector in front with Tim Wellens doing a big job. Left-hand side, just alongside him, Wout van Aert, who is now back in the group, and an extra set of legs and very strong runs at that to help Jonas Vingegaard. Behind you can see the white jersey moving up. This, in the meantime, is an issue for Sam Bennett. And Danny, it's getting very chaotic again at the front.
It is really chaotic, but UAE are taking control. So they have learned from the other day when they were, well, Tadej was isolated in those crosswinds. This Melissa bike in UAE doing a sterling job here. Tadej Pogacar just sat within that bubble of UAE. Those 3 riders taking control here. To see where Primož Roglič is, he's a little bit further up than what he was on that previous sector where he did get caught out.
Roglic not there in that.
Hello,
Remco's there with Johnny Moscon once again in front of him. Jonas Vingegaard with Wout van Aert, Christophe Laporte behind him, and he's got Tish Benoit Jorgensen behind him. And then you've got Remco with, it looks like Landa in front of him now, apologies. So Landa move up, and I just think behind that you see a probably one of the Arkea riders.
This is Nielsen Biles towards the back. I can assure you that that is the team that has the yellow helmets. It's UAE Emirates. They're the leaders of the team classification. And at the minute, if they sneak away, no one will see them.
Hey, it's good to see Tim Wellens back in it. I criticised him. I had a message with him this morning. He had a right go at me.
Has he been listening?
Yeah.
You speak, Adam, they follow.
I wish. Slow down.
Well, they haven't slowed down here because it's 1 minute now, the gap. Off they come. Tim Wellens at the front. More gaps opening up again. Again, this Melissa bike are with them. And once more we ask the question, where is Primož Roglič? He's about 10, 11 back, and that little split, Robbie's about 4 or 5 back from it. You can just see him there rocking and rolling a little bit, but this is what's going to happen on all these sections. Till it splits, eventually riders are just going to get more tired, but just look at the support Tadej Pogacar's got. Look at the support that Jonas Vingegaard has got. They've always got 1 or 2 or 3 riders around him. You look at Remco, he's got Landa with him. You look at Roglic, he's got maybe 1 rider with him. And here's a problem. Jan Tratnik with a bike change here, and this is important because Jan Tratnik is the man that Jonas Vingegaard would take a bike off if he were there. As we say goodbye for the moment to Adam.
Yeah, he's also waiting for a bike change. Didn't want that wheel change from the neutral service car. He wants a bike from the team.
No, hang on. This is Jonas Vingegaard's bike, and it looks as though he has changed bike with Jonas Vingegaard. That was the number 1 on the back, so something has happened there with Vingegaard. Now then, Jorgensen's at the front. Van Aert is looking around. There you could see a little gap towards the back, and where is Jonas Vingegaard? Because there's been a bike change. Robbie McEwen's in. Has he spotted him? He is chasing back on, and his team need to make a snap decision, and it's an easy one. Sit up now and go and get him. Problems for Jonas Vingegaard at the Tour de France. UAE Emirates naturally are riding here at the front. The race is already on these gravel sectors. Evenepoel's right up there. Most of the Visma Lease bike team still here, still waiting. We saw that it was Jan Tratnik who was waiting. You can see now, and this is Jonas Vingegaard, the defending champion at the Tour de France, putting everything onto the pedals. Is he in this group? I think he is. He's safe. But he should not be on his own. He should not be putting his nose in the wind to ride himself back up to the front. So the others knowing, because they would have had the radio communication, Jan Tratnik was on the spot. This is something they prepared themselves for, knowing that Tratnik had a matching bike size, saddle height for Jonas Vingegaard. But the fact that others just sitting at the front looking concerned is not good enough. They need to have gone back, and you can't just leave him on his own, because what if then something happens on his way back? Well, Wout van Aert was still sitting there, still looking around, and that was Vingegaard coming into picture at the back on this descent here. And as we were saying previously, these gravel sectors now come thick and fast, and Vingegaard is still having to work himself. Look at this, another effort, just in case a split opens in front of him.
Yeah, he's trying to do everything he can now to make up these positions on the road. But like Robbie said, where are his teammates? This is a really fast bit of road as well. They descend down, and then there's only 3 kilometres until the next climb and the next gravel section. So he's having to do a lot of work on his own now, just picking one rider off at a time here. You can see the Vingegaard.
So Van Aert had been waiting. He still doesn't know he's there. Now he is, and now it's the time to move him up further up. They've kept Jorgensen at the front. They kept other riders there. This is Laporte, who is behind. So you can imagine that he did the first job before the camera picked up the fact that it was Vingegaard who had the bike change. Of course, we only managed to see that because we saw the number of the bike that was being held by Jan Tratnik. So there is an illustration of exactly why you need your teammates around you. The bike changes being the obvious one. The quick bike change from Jan Tratnik, good, 10 out of 10. Laporte looked like he had waited. The fact that the others hadn't dropped back quite quick enough, not ideal, but they've gotten away with it. I tell you what, it's a huge improvement over the situation we saw with the Visma team 2 years ago on the cobbled stage, where they're almost playing chicken across the road between groups and bikes with saddles that were 14 centimetres too high. And so they've really gotten away with this one, but you see that the battle to get back to the front, and Jonas wasn't able to follow Wout van Aert through that gap alongside Primož Roglic. Just approaching 95 kilometres to go. We're between sectors. There's an issue here for Alpecin Koenig and for Robert Geers. We've just seen a massive issue for Jonas Vingegaard. It's game on. It's panic on. The alarm bells are ringing everywhere at the Tour de France. 43 seconds from the riders up the road to the yellow jersey. And before the chaos kicks off again, time for me to hand over to Carlton Kirby.
Thank you, Rob. You know, if Tadej Pogacar is a collector of both classics, Grand Tour titles, just about anything you could possibly throw at him, he will have looked at today's stage and thought to himself, you know, that's of all the big gold medals you get within this Tour de France for winning a stage, this one's going to be an extra special one. And the way things are going at the moment, you would not bet against him. Here is your handover, Robbie.
That looks like it's going to be Jasper Philipsen. I've just been looking on the tracker and seen that there was a group trying to chase their way back on that contained Jasper Philipsen, and that shows us why. He's had a puncture, also received away. Look at this close-up. Look how rocky this is. This you could barely call it gravel. It's a rocky road, and not the kind you consume and lick your lips.
Final thoughts, Danny? I know you're heading off for a break yourself.
Oh, I mean, this is a spectacle, isn't it? This is something really special here today in the Tour de France. We're going to see a little bit of everything here, but for now, the GC riders are safe.
Thanks to Danny. Thanks to Rob. You'll be hearing more from Rob a little bit later on. He's going to be carrying it home today. The golden thread for the rest of the day is Mr. Sean Kelly. I'm busy saluting as we stand right now. Robbie, phenomenal. We said about about your fortune, that everyone's going to have ill fortune during the day. It seems that Tadej Pogačar has avoided just about everything. He has just had a measured run, and measure for measure, he is in the driving seat.
So far, he is, without incident. But we said at the top of the day, it's not a question of when you have something go a little bit wrong.
Yep.
Or not if, but when, and how bad, at which moment, and how you deal with it. Vingegaard is still on Jan Tratnik's bike and may require another change to his own personal bike. But if the course doesn't lend itself to that, the way the race is being ridden, at least he can sort of plug away on Tratnik's bike and he can ride to the finish if necessary, but they may choose to try and get him on one of his own machines.
Next section of the rough stuff. Time for that golden thread I was telling you about. Sean Kelly, what a day of absolute drama. Can this front group, they hold a margin of 40 seconds. What's going to happen to their ambitions now that they know that Pogačar and a whole raft of others who would have an influence on the day are just sailing into the game?
Well, it's not looking good for the breakaway. We can see the way the peloton is, getting very active in the yellow jersey group, but because to get into position, we see UE, the way they're pushing on there, and that is going to be the problem, unless, we get a point where they will knock it off a little bit more, but I can't see where they can do that when you look at all the gravel sections they have to go through. So it's going to be a real difficult one for the guys out in front to go on out of the breakaway, and this is what we were talking about for many months here. This stage today, the gravel is a risky one. Now for the GC men, it's a little bit better because they have a bit more space. They have the good riders fighting for the seat up front that they had in the full sections, but still, as we can see here, the risk, mechanical problems at a time, and at this time, anywhere on the sections, then you can be in difficulty trying to get back in, and that's where teammates are so important.
The Col de Frion is what we're dealing with as well as part of this gravel sector. It's 3 starts that you've just seen. 8 minutes or so for best amateurs zipping through before you know it. Average pace today is 47 seconds. Drop back just a little bit from the heights, but as we ride along this Lucano here, some hopes have been dashed, others still to their 2.6 kilometres, 5%, with a maximum of 8% on the climb of the Côte de Valfrion. That's just the climb, don't forget. The gravel sector's longer than that, Robbie. Extends either side of the climb and beyond.
And that's been all through today, where the gravel is not so regular in that it goes to the top of the climb, and then a sharp turn off, and then onto the bitumen and keep climbing again. I think that the key is, and a team like UAE will be thinking at this point, basically, just this sort of tempo, and definitely this position, as far as you can through towards the finish. Just keep it regular for Tadej Pogačar. It's often the best way is Jonas Vingegaard. He comes back up, just we saw him left of screen, making his way right back up to the front of the race. So the crisis has been averted.
Well, something got sensible as well is Arnaud Denis. Backed out of his shenanigans from the top of the day, where he's chasing down his own man and was just chopping at the bit short. Robbie saying that he's probably broken a few things by chopping too hard on it. He then appeared to go pop. He's come back here and just rested up almost, and he's ridden a magic carpet ride of GC ambitions. And it may well be that Denis still has an option on this day, but how much power will he be able to put back in his legs on such a frantic day, even within the bunch?
Well, as we see, Declan could be another one with a flat tyre trying to, get the team car up and get change of wheel here. And, that is going to be something we'll see a lot more of. But, yeah, fortunately, he made a lot of effort in the earlier part of the stage for no gain. And the situation racers in as well who are asking why was he making, those moves. He had a man in the breakaway. He's back in the peloton here. Has he done too much? That we'll have to wait and see, because this is all going to come back together, and it's going to be another battle to win the stage.
What a beautiful hill this is, and thankfully stabilised. The gravel has now just indeed run out. You can see how steep it is as well. This has been the most wearing day, never mind to watch, Robbie, but also obviously to ride. I find myself shredded.
Well, it's wearing for the riders, certainly. I am just buzzing from this stage. I'm enjoying this so much. Right from the get-go, the amount of attacking, and then what a parkour. There are people who have been against this, outspokenly against it, mostly team bosses, fearing the worst for the general classification contender. But this stage, being only just over halfway through it, it is absolutely brilliant and is 100% delivering on all the excitement that it promised. We're still at the break off the front at 40 seconds, looking like they may be wound back in, but it just now depends really, I think, on the way the GC contenders and their teams choose to ride from this point on. Just look how the peloton is decimated. This is a really thinned out group that's left. They could, if they wanted, sort of put it on autopilot, but look at the face of Tim Wellens. This is not just cruise control.
No, it's not. He's done an awful lot of work in this race already, and yet more being demanded of him. And the only reason he's doing this, Sean, is because Telefocaccia, I think, fancies the day.
Well, it is possible, and he is putting pressure on the challengers for the overall classification. And he is going to try, keep his team working on the front there. Also, by doing that, they're keeping, the position needs to be on the front of the race. The best place to be when you're going up these climbs on the gravel sections. You have a better view with just a number of teammates in front of you. And now we have 10 kilometres the next section, so it's a sharp one again, and it's just going to continue on here. And as we get into the the final, the gravel sections, they come thick and fast, and for that reason there's not a lot of time where it will slow down a lot. For the breakaway, I don't think it's going to happen, because it's just going to continue at this real killer of a pace all the way over this final 90k.
The smoke just billowing across the dust, I should say. It looks like a bushfire up ahead, and they're screaming into it here, Robbie.
Well, the dust is a huge factor today. You're sometimes better off being in a position where you don't have a vehicle in front of you.
Indeed.
You think you're at the front of the peloton, you'd be out of it, but the vehicle's in front, kicking up plenty of dust. Pogacar looking so comfortable. Remco Evenepoel just over to the right in the white jersey, also just handling himself very well in these conditions. Looking further back in the peloton, things are starting to get strung out. They've changed direction again. They're getting a little bit of crosswind. Now look at the flags up there, so there is crosswind. Now look at the splits, the gaps in the field behind. I noticed a lot further back, Biniam Gourmet was still looking quite good. Mathieu van der Poel sitting there. Now Pogacar making his own acceleration.
Yeah, absolutely. He knows that some of his main rivals have been struggling today with ill fortune, call it what you will, and he's decided to set the pace himself. Absolutely magnificent, Sean. Comes off a transition here, and he just wants his nose in the wind. Look at that gap, 39 seconds only, and he's leading the charge here.
Well, we know Pogacar. We've seen him in races like this, Strada. He Tour of France with those races. He's able to ride this sort of terrain very, very comfortably. You can see the way, he pulls out the gap here. But you ask yourself, why is he doing this at this moment? His team is at the riding there at the front. Then he goes and pushes on here. It's better to leave the team do the job there, and not start pushing out in front here, because there's no reason to do it at the moment. But that's Taddy. He just likes to race, and he's just, he just loves this sort of race, and down dangerous sense, around corners, gravel, all that, and here we go.
Well, you know what? The biggest climb of the race that remains is the next one, actually, the Côte de Chenonceau. And once he gets over that through the gravel, to me, it's Telefocaccia terrain kind of thing here, Robbie. Why not show your hand right now? This is going to cause a lot of panic behind it. It's for others to chase into the gap.
It's definitely causing a bit of panic.
Yeah.
Well, the good part was that over the top, he may put the pressure on for about 100 metres and then just use the downhill to great effect over the gap. And it's Remco Evenepoel now crossing the gap. I just wonder who they think they may have caught out that might be in trouble behind, because I couldn't see Pogačar doing this just for the fun of it. I know he gets excited in situations like this and loves to race. But I wonder if there's just one of his rivals for GC have got themselves out of position.
Robbie, did Vingegaard get his own bike back?
We don't know that yet. I haven't seen anything of that. Further back, that is Vingegaard on the radio. At the front of that group, he's got a teammate who's just gone across in Jorgensen. Yep.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the issue.
Yeah, and Laporte coming back, so he's on the radio. Christophe Laporte dropping back. So Jorgensen and Laporte followed the move. Laporte coming back to support Jonas Vingegaard, who's sitting there in fourth wheel while Ineos Grenadiers lead the chase.
Well, there's no need to panic here. We can see there's other teams that will start chasing, and immediately Ineos comes to the front here and starts pushing on. But we could see Vingegaard there just giving the call for Laporte to come back. But it's an interesting one from Pogačar to do that. We know Roglic, he's the one who, is showing that he's suffering today.
Yeah, suffering. You talk about it. Here's the lead.
Well, I saw Delis labouring on that last climb, and he started quite near the front and finished just hanging on at the back of it. Then he went into that crosswind over the top, and he's been distanced. Looks to be paying for the efforts that he's made today, but maybe also over the last few days. Been racing very, very hard, and today made some, I think, tactical errors early, using energy when he even had guys in the brakes in Drisner's and Maxim Vahils. I think he may have just written himself out of this one.
I think you're right. He finished third yesterday behind Gervais and Philipsen. Delis has been very much a feature. He was the third on stage 3 as well, fourth on stage 5, fifth on stage 6. He hasn't stopped, and today I think he just his enthusiasm got the better of him, Robbie.
Yeah, I think it really did a bit. Looking forward to this so much. Order restored in the peloton. Visma Lisa bike back on the front.
The action points come thick and fast here. We're rapidly approaching our next section of gravel. We'll be on it in about 3 kilometres time. It is the longest section that we've got. It's also deemed to be the roughest surface as well. I think its length will have something to do with the 3-star rating that's been given. How many stars we give Delis? I think C stars at the moment, possibly. Not a good kind. It feels like he's been beaten up. And the trouble is, he's been hitting the punchback with his head. It's not been the best style today, I'm afraid, in fighting. We're about to hear from the Yenzi, and then we'll be coming back to Roderick Gill and Sean Kelly, who's sitting alongside us. There is Jens on the bike. His thoughts?
Here comes a little piece of good news for the leading rider for today, Pogačar. German champion Nils Polic, big powerhouse, just coming back to the group. He will help to control this race, ride a hard tempo for his leader Tadej Pogačar. So Nils Polic back in the first peloton, and back to the commentator.
Jens sounds like he's got a bit of dust in his throat.
Do you know what? Jens could add drama into a licking of a stump. I mean, whenever we throw to him, he's like, look at this, fantastic, he's coming back. It hasn't been anyway.
I can't blame him. You really can't. If you're in the thick of the action, you're on the motorbike and you are within the race, you get that adrenaline rush of the race. And I know when I've been on the motorbike in races, it is infectious. The aggression of the peloton, the speed, everything going on around us, sights and sounds. And today is the one day I'm envious of Jens on the motorbike, because what a spectacle. You're seeing so much action.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to be, Sean.
Well, with Jensi, we've seen him, and thousands of Tour of France, you meet him on the most boring day of the race. He's jumping around, and he's all action, and that's Jens Voigtmann. He's like that, and of course on the motorbike, he's in the thick of the action, and we're getting it more so.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, just having lunch with him once, he said, "What are you doing with the prawns? Have you not seen the gambas?" but there's always something better that he knows about.
Quick one here, guys, in this break. The calm face at the back, the bearded face of Anthony Turgis.
More than the other guys, and Remember, Movistar has 3 boys here, and you're in strong company. Strong company.
Keep your head down, basically. That's what that watchword is, Robbie. Sorry, you go on.
No, good advice. Do the same amount as the guy doing the least.
Yep.
And when you've got Movistar there, he's exactly right with that advice. But I just look at the very calm face of Anthony Turgis. He's also sitting on the back of the group. It's where Arnaud Delis closing the gap again. He was at 16 seconds to be able to ride their way back. Fortunately for them, through the convoy, they didn't make what they call a barrage, the dam effect of holding the vehicles back and making you ride through the wind on your own. But I think the writing's on the wall. He's been rocking and rolling for a number of kilometres now. So just so much energy used. But they don't call him the bull of Lechery for nothing. Romain Bardet just thanking him for the work coming back. Well, that's been an incredible recovery, though.
Yeah, he's got big problems, and there's a major climb coming up, and gravel as well. So just as he gets back on, the punishment begins again. Raining down, the cutchel is held by these guys, and in fact they're just about to make a turn onto the gravel section, if I'm not mistaken. So let's have a look. It's the climb that starts as the Côte de Chaussonnay. 3 kilometres long, 4.3%, but I've got to tell you, it's got a maximum which is far more difficult than that. On a couple of occasions through the climb, we're going to be nudging up to about 7 and 8%. Already at 6, as you can see. No easy task, especially this deep into the race, Sean, and how we've ridden it has been, well, it's almost like a sprint from the start.
Well, it has been a real difficult race right from the big kilometre zero, and it's going on, and it's going to go on for the rest of the race here, because what's up on the route in front of the riders here, the breakaway, the peloton. This is going to be a real energy sap for one, and it's going to be the strongest are going to survive here. And I'm sure the breakaway out in front are thinking, not again. Peloton very active, and it's not going to be where we get that magic 3-4 minutes at a point where they have a great chance of going into the final. It's really in the balance at the moment. It depends on what the peloton do, and the GC teams, as we can see, Visma Lease might continue on to push on here. And as long as we see that, it's going to be a real difficult one, unless we see a number of riders in the breakaway pulling on out and getting to work real well together, because there is some of them there in that breakaway are going to be taking that bit easier, sparing it for the final.
The lead going backwards almost immediately. They hit any kind of incline here. I'm inclined to think his day is done. 9% they're going to hit on this, Robbie.
Well, I was just going to say that the 4% average gradient doesn't tell the story of this climb. With his first kicker at 11%, you see them, the break up and out of the saddle, the low speeds, and the Visma Lease bike now taking control at the front for Jonas Vingegaard. Up alongside them now coming Tadej Pogacar, but with just one teammate, another one straggling another 6 or 7 positions further back. Remco Evenepoel popping himself straight onto the wheel of Tadej Pogacar. You just see Pogacar just keeping a very close eye on Jonas Vingegaard, because when the road goes up, that's where Visma Lease bike and Jonas can start to do some damage of their own.
Roglic is here, Evenepoel is here, so indeed is Pogacar, but Jonas Vingegaard seems to have an abundance of teammates around him, Sean.
Yes, well, I think there's a few of the teams there, the GC men have their teammates around them, and it's the important part. We talked about that at the beginning of this race. Teammates are going to be so important. To ride on the front when there's need to be, also the mechanical problems that can happen to anybody. So it is a major problem to have men around you.
Yeah, and more coming back as well. Just starting to struggle a little bit in his Grenadiers, but as you can see, Red Bull have re-established themselves. Roglic is there. He's had so many troubles today. They'll be magnified.
You know who's starting to struggle?
Everybody. Yeah, exactly.
Van Aert, he is turning the screws, and look at the peloton splitting to pieces. Mathieu van der Poel still there in the line, a little fracture just up in front. It looks like Marc Soler from UAE in the yellow helmet closing that, but further back it's a scramble to get back to the wheels after that steep section. Wout van Aert just really starting to turn it on and putting everybody in trouble.
I'm just waiting to see the face of Tadej Pogacar, because at moments like this he often looks so cool, calm and collected. I think he probably still will be. He doesn't display his anxieties very easily, does Tadej Pogacar. I've seen him jibbing himself on, just to get the whip hand out, almost comedically. He hides his angst very well, or is he just a genius at work, Sean? I think it's possibly the latter.
Well, I think, a lot of these riders, they can ride this without any difficulty. If you're on a good day, well then, the big champions, they can do this, although there's some of them maybe not as talented as others on it, but if you're on a bad day, that's where it's the real killer. And, if you're struggling all day when the screw is turned really by the teams on the front, notably Melissa bike, well then you're going to, in that suffering position for a long time, and that's why you have to be, mentally strong as well, because you have to keep on fighting and keep getting over those difficult sections, try and stay in contact and get this day over with. And that is something that all big riders go through. And you're hoping you're not going to get it on a day like today when the racing is, real aggressive all day through the stage of almost 200 kilometres.
Very little wind around today, Robbie, which should have added yet another element to the trouble.
Yeah, just a breeze blowing today, not incredibly strong, but when you're really on the limit after these gravel sectors or some of these climbs, you top out and things open up and you just get the slightest breeze from either side. It feels like much more. You've seen this what's left of the peloton really stretched out. Oh, the group at the back, I just had noticed before, Biniam Gourmet, fourth from the back of this group. They were slightly distanced on the steeper part. Just thought their way back on, but look at where the break is now. These gradients up around 14%.
Unbelievable. It says 4%. I think they need to add a 1 onto that. It does go into a little dip. Maybe they're talking about averages here. And then there's a final lip before they get to the top. And then finally they'll be able to enjoy a little bit of respite as they come over the crest. It's been a long climb, this one, Robbie.
Undersold it. It's actually 18.5%. The steepest section that they just went up. So
you can see it's a wall.
Yeah, if you're already struggling on the run up to this, after the first part of the climb, this could be the section that really dumps a few out the back. And
Remco picks it up. He's gone. This is a display as well. We're seeing the prize fighters showing what they've got. Pogačar it was last time by, and now Remco Evenepoel kicks off. What's the response from Tadej Pogačar? He's sat within a phalanx here of Visma Lisa bike riders with Jonas Vingegaard there, of course. This is a magnificent display. How long it'll last with 77.4 kilometres to go is anybody's guess.
Well, how long will it be allowed? Because we can see, Visma just continuing on to set a pace here. And when you look at 77 plus kilometres to go with the situation of the race at the moment, I think again the DS will be looking at this and why is Remco attacking at this time. So it will be just a little bit hold off and see will he be allowed to ride on here. It's always good to get onto the sections, ahead, but still if you're that good, you just sit here beside the other big favourites and follow.
I think impressive, but not necessary right at this moment. Remco, all his three main rivals are right behind him with teammates, and there's still 10 kilometres to the start of the next section.
I think it's a bit of bragging rights apart from anything else. He's seen Pogačar go, he's seen Vingegaard get back in with an army of teammates around him, and Evenepoel just wants to make a display.
Well, I think the bragging rights to be much better if you wait till maybe the second last section of the day, or maybe about 25 kilometres out, and then have a go.
Response from Pogačar. He decides to kick on. Let's see what Vingegaard does in response. He's got teammates around him to help out if they've got the legs to do it. Now there's a long downhill section here. We saw the encouragement, the enthusiasm of Tadej Pogačar to take this on. Grains will indeed make a finer bake. What's cooking, Robbie?
Well, maybe it was the intention of Evenepoel to take a head start before they got on the downhill. We've seen the damage that Tadej Pogačar can do. Downhill on gravel, Remco would want no part of that if Pogačar went, but this is now playing into the move of Remco Evenepoel. They could have just banded their powers together as teams and chased him down, but doesn't Tadej just love to race? He's accepted the invitation.
Two dust kickers here in front of Pogačar and Vingegaard are chasing down. They have accepted the ticket to the prize fight, Sean. What a battle. Well, look at the gaps.
Yes, well, you can see the gaps, but when Pogačar goes, of course, Vingegaard has to follow here. He cannot allow, the two men, Remco, Evenepoel there here to get away, because you never know what way they can ride. They're capable of, doing a 2-up time trial in the 76 kilometres. But it's not taking long for, the man in the yellow jersey, Hogger shot to react here. And now we have 3 out of front. This will be an interesting situation now. What way they will, collaborate together.
Yeah, Remco looked over his shoulder and eased off, really had a few easy pedal strokes, let them come across. I think Tadej and Remco, they would be inclined to go on with this. I would say that Jonas Vingegaard will say, no thank you, I'll just sit here and wait for my teammates. He'll be much more conservative.
Breakaway nearly at an end. They won't say all together because it's altogether a different story today. We have a peloton that's been absolutely destroyed. If teammates have burnt themselves out to put the 3 principals in a good position, then that's worked an absolute treat. And here they are. Who's had the worst day? The 3 principal riders of the Tour de France just about to come to a group that's going to look behind and go, oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, well, Remco's just swung off from a big turn on the front, and Jonas has just eased back, left the gap and said, in you go, I'm not going to work with you. And again.
There we are. Well, and a black look came back as well from Evenepoel there, Sean.
Well, leave him look. Leave him right on. And just, not get involved here. And it looks like that Jonas is not going to contribute at all here. Immediately he just flicks over to the riders coming back here. You can see again into Remco's and the elbows are going. You could see Remco just a moment ago when the 2 of them joined up with him. He was, waving the hand immediately, and he's also, really up for this one. And this is a place where I think the man being in goal, he's just not going to contribute for the moment. And waiting for the team to come up. But just let's depend back to see what's happening back there in the group now, and what the situation will be.
But Pogacar and Remco, true racers, like the adrenaline flows, chance to attack, bang, off they go. 75 kilometres to go on a stage. They're going into the rest day as well. I think, well, let's use some energy. But he's always going to stick to the plan.
Here we go. Catch the group and then just go to the head of it. They want to actually keep this gap going. Well, there you are. There's a group with Roglic at 23 seconds at the moment. So he's the man that's missed out on it, essentially. The 3 principals are up the road, and watch to see if this gap extends. Are they going to be part of a willing engine room within this group, Robbie?
Well, there's not many left to do the chasing for Primož Roglic, and I just wonder, seeing that Jonas Vingegaard does not want to make any contribution to this group, and Tadej Pogacar waving him on yet again, I wonder if Jonas's team will just sit back and not do anything, or be, in fact, too worried about having him up there and isolated. What if something happens? What if he gets a puncture while he's up there and he's all on his own? Things start to happen. Remco or Tadej follow attacking moves from other riders in this group, and he finds himself in a really difficult situation. I think that's why the team would have said, be conservative, don't work with them, hope that everything comes back together. We need to stay strong together.
The gap is going up. It's out to around about half a minute, more than that, I'm sure, by the time some of you come back from the break.
Kilometres to go, we're less than 8 kilometres, 8 sectors to go now. 8 sectors to go, less than 3 kilometres to get to sector 8. And UAE Emirates are on the front alongside this Melissa bike. Ineos Grenadiers in and around Carlos Rodriguez. All our viewers on Eurosport are away on a break, just been discussing the fact and hearing over the race radio from the Soudal Quickstep team that to remember that Jonas Vingegaard is still on the bike of his teammate Jan Tratnik. They are of a similar stature, but Jonas Vingegaard 175 centimetres, Jan Tratnik 173. And the way they're built, I would assume, and I'm pretty certain that Jonas Vingegaard would ride a slightly higher saddle height than Jan Tratnik, so he's probably sat a little bit low to what is ideal for him. And I had the impression that through that quick-step radio communication, they'd quite like it if the pace stayed high to keep him on the wrong sized bike. Even if it doesn't end up being the difference today, you've got to do everything you can throughout the 3 weeks to keep your opponents on the back foot.
The pace high, Sean, even at the front, there's still 7 seconds between these 2 at the front. But not just the pace being high, but there's not much room between gravel sectors now to stop for a planned bike change, is there?
No, that is the problem here. It's not like in a normal stage where you have, just asphalt road all the time. You can make the change and get back in the cavalcade of cars. This is a real complicated one getting in after a mechanical or bike change, because when you go on to the gravel sections, this group is going to blow apart again, and if being go changing the bike, they will definitely up the pace, and that will blow a lot of riders out. So then there's gaps all over the place, and you have to try and get across all of those gaps. So he's waiting and hoping they will have a chance where there's a number of kilometres on the normal road to make the change quickly, but for the moment they feel it's too risky.
2 kilometres to the next section, 3-star section, nearly 4 kilometres long, and Remco Evenepoel sitting in the back of that group. Not a big group, so not overly complicated to make a move towards the front, but you're inviting danger. If you sit back, others see it, and they say, well, now let's get him under pressure. Coming up to the next sector. On the books of 58k to go, and you just see sponsors holdings put up through what is normally a quiet, peaceful residential road in the middle of the Champagne Hills. In 58k time, there's going to be a cork pop. There might also be a consolation drink or two if anybody loses time. Here at the front, Derek G's done quite the job. Ben Healy's still with him, Alexei Lutsenko, Thomas Pidcock, and Jasper Stuyver. 5 seconds to the next 3 riders, including Aramburu, as well as his teammate Romo. Turn on to the next sector. Here we go. Sector 8. We're not even halfway through the sector yet. 3.9 kilometres longer. Finishes in Magnotte. Looks as though we're about to get contact between the two groups and have 8 at the front. Behind, keep your eye on Jonas Vingegaard. Keep your eye on Desma Bike, because we see riders going wide into the grass there. Oh dear. I was just going to say, Rob, the complication here is going to be with the turns. You saw the piling up of the gravel in the middle. Before I got a chance to say it, they've gone over that pile. You'll completely lose traction, hard to take the corner. So really pay attention to that when what's left of the peloton comes through the group of favourites. That is the type of thing when your concentration levels are down, you're under pressure, you can make a mistake on that sort of section through one of the bends, loose gravel, off you go into the field. Look at the size of those stones, and no wonder they're fighting to have the right line here. They'll have been getting that information. We've been getting it all day long about certain sectors. These teams will have been much more meticulous than we have been in the preparation to see each and every entry and exit. There they go, left turn, across the bridge. On we go. It is UAE, Visma Bike, and a reminder, yes, Jonas Vingegaard, defending champion, is still on his teammate's bike. It's not just the saddle height, but also the length of the stem. Tratnik riding a 140. Apparently Vingegaard rides a 125, so there's a 15 difference in reach there. Yeah, a bit more stretched out. And here we go. They've got the same got Remco Evenepoel. Oh, Evenepoel. Evenepoel has been caught up. He's on the stones, and Remco Evenepoel, who wasn't right at the front, is in a little bit of trouble now, Robbie. But exactly what we just spoke about. We saw it happen in that front group, through the bend, across the middle, where you've got that hump in the middle of the road, either side of, in the middle where the tyre tracks are. Accumulation of gravel, and there's a number of them who've got that wrong. And Remco Evenepoel, now he was aggressive about 10 kilometres or so ago. Now he's got a little bit of a chase on his hands on the radio too, through to the team and to Mikel Landa. He likes someone to drop back, or someone. He needs Landa to drop back and try and pace him back on. Emmerich Mas just alongside him, struggling to pick his own lines. You could see Felix Gau, he struggled all day. But Evenepoel, not with a wealth of teammates here, Sean, and 150 metres in distance. But all of those riders and a lot of traffic to get through.
Yes, a lot of traffic to get through, and you have to be able to read what's coming up from the director sportive as well, get the information, and be exactly in the situation where you need to be. And Remco, going a bit too far back there, that is playing with fire big time, and you see he gets caught out, and then you have to make that effort to get back in, and he will get back in, of course, but all of those efforts can pay at the end of this one, and still just 56 kilometres to go. As you can see here, he's going to have to make a big effort to get back into the end of the group of the other riders that he needs to be, more notably Pogacar and Vingegaard.
And there's still almost 2 kilometres of this sector to go, Robbie. And see what Remco's just done there. He's a once bitten, twice shy. He stayed on the right-hand side instead of trying to apex the corner. Follow the wheel track around the outside to not have to go across that really loose gravel on the inside section of the corner. So the chase continues for Remco. Still no Mikel Landa, who's the only teammate for Evenepoel in that front group.
Well, I don't think Lamb's will be much good at me here. He's a rider that's going to, just fight to stay in the front, and allow Remco to do what he does well. Just, time trial back to the end of this one, get over this section, get through it, and then hopefully he will learn for the next ones that he cannot go into a section of gravel in a situation. He has to be really in that top 5, 7 riders. But that's the problem with Remco. He doesn't like that, elbowing and fighting to get into the position. He's not that sort of rider. And I think we're seeing the reason he did attack. He wanted to try and get up the road with the other 2 men and just do a 3-up time trial. And that way, it's so easy then. And if you're feeling real strong as Remco probably is, well then, it's the best way to do it, but it did not work out for him.
No chance for a breath yet. Still 1.2 kilometres to go towards the end of this sector, and that's for the group right at the top of your picture. The group that's ahead, 105 ahead. This is the yellow jersey group. This is where we concern ourselves with for the general classification, and maybe even a stage win. Let's not forget, Van der Poel's just been following here all day long, not doing anything wrong, not committing too much. He knows racing. He's a nose for it, and he's continuing to follow. As Remco Evenepoel for the moment, he's back on in the group, and he's sitting on the wheel of his teammate Mikel Landa. Yeah, it's almost like the worst of this section is over, and once they get off this sector, which is a 3-star sector, the maximum difficulty on this stage, the next 5 sectors are all 1-star sectors. They're 2.2, 1.2, 1,800 metres, 1,500 metres, and 1.9, so they're not really long sectors. They don't seem to be particularly difficult. Doesn't mean that they're not treacherous, because it depends on the speeds, the aggression at which they're being taken. And at some point, when this group remains at a minute, and I'm not saying just yet, but coming into the last 25 kilometres, it's when the likes of Mathieu van der Poel might need to start making a move rather than just relying on it being ridden shut gradually by the teams of the GC contenders. Problems here, and it's Zangler. Zingler with an issue there and requiring help, and I'm afraid for him near the front of the race, that is going to spell the end of any hopes of that. He'd already been off the group, sort of yo-yoing backwards and forwards on the harder sections. The very last thing he needed was a problem with another chase, but that's exactly what he's got. Little uphill pinch here, well, little, it won't feel little to anyone who's struggling. That is a stick kicker. Lutsenko now putting the pressure on, and Healy going with him. Lutsenko has won gravel races in Italy, let's not forget, the Serenissima gravel. That was one of the first races we had road riders participating en masse a couple of years ago. Gran Camino is looking really good. I think he's been really good in Gran Camino in the past too. I seem to remember he smashed everybody. Stoven, a true classics rider, the Belgian. Been a winner of Milano Sanremo, but you look at any of the Belgian classics, he's always there and thereabouts, and a man doing damage in the most difficult cobbled sections. He'll be loving this. Jasper Stuyver, who is the European gravel champion at the moment, winning on home roads and off-roads up near Lerva last autumn. And he's making a move here. Now then, Laporte. Keep your eyes. Being followed well by the yellow jersey. Van der Poel is not far away. Nero still up there. Looking a little further down to see Roglic in about 15th position. Evenepoel much further back, and a split opening. Evenepoel following.
We can see Evenepoel there a bit further back. Ayuso, Almeida, quite a long way back, and yeah, that is maybe a sign of some of the riders from the leader team starting to struggle a bit, but we can see out front also everybody is starting to show the signs of the fatigue setting in here, and now it's going to be a question, how long will this be left until maybe Van der Poel goes, but Pogacar as well, he's another one that could try something from a long ways out, so As a GC man, you have to keep your eye on the yellow jersey. You have to be close to him at all times when you go through the very critical moments.
Oh, Wout van Aert struggling now, but he's been doing all that pace setting on the front for Jonas Vingegaard, so that's just starting to, well, not starting to, it is bitten Wout van Aert. That's to be expected with his limited preparation coming into the Tour, but what a job he's done so far.
Hugely important. There are 52.5 kilometres to go and 58 seconds now between the front of the race. Vlasov who's in this group with Dan as well. Vlasov, Sean, we've seen him hanging perilously at the back of all the groups all day long, haven't we?
Yes, well, he has been also in difficulty quite a number of times. And yeah, when you make the efforts, when you get distance, you have to make an effort to get back in maybe. All of that is paying in the end. And paying at this point is not looking good for him because, you know, he's also a man I think they would like to keep up there and look after the leader in the final. But it's shown with all the teams that there is riders starting to show the effort they've put in.
A very warm welcome back to the final 50 kilometres of stage 9 of the Tour de France. You're looking at a gap of 1:13 from the now 8 riders in front back to the yellow jersey group that has just had an enormous scare because Alexander Vlasov, teammate of Primož Roglic, has had a very nasty crash. He hit his head, he looked very dazed when he got up. Initially you could see the mechanic sort of holding him, and I thought then that he would not be allowed to carry on. Now, this is a really difficult thing for a mechanic to have to do. Of course, there has to be a confidence in there that you can hold someone back there. You know, you're talking about somebody really important. But we know now, gentlemen, that if there's any doubt, if there's a worry, riders have to be checked before they continue.
And I'm going to be honest, that check wasn't carried out. The mechanic, it's not their area of expertise, but everybody has had to go through concussion protocol training to look for signs. The mechanic just trying to get him underway. That really, for mine, requires a head injury assessment.
This is how it happened. Look at the middle of the peloton there. This is Bernard at the back, and on the left-hand side, look at that. That's an awful, awful impact. And Sean, I could see you watching, wincing, shaking your own head. It's a nasty one.
Yes, it is a nasty one. We could see there when Vlasov got to his feet. He was a little bit shaky, dazed a bit. And the mechanic, you know, he should have held on for a bit more and do the check as we hear about. But, you know, he let them go very, very quickly. But it's been an interesting one out to see how he looks like that. He's saying, yeah, all okay. The medical car, the medical assistant coming up, we can see the elbow, you know, a lot of blood there, but yeah, looks pretty okay now.
Now, this isn't just us freely criticising, and, you know, we know this is difficult. We know this is a really difficult thing to do, and I welcome the fact that we have increased visibility around it, but it is a strange sport to do that. You can't stop the match like you can in other matches. You can't give it 2 minutes before you then restart, take them off the pitch, get them on. You have to keep them up there as well, because if he is all right, it's such a difficult thing to get right. The good news is the medical card there and the proper professionals can now carry out the assessment.
They'll deal with the initial injury, the blood streaming from the elbow. They'll deal with that, but then the thing they'll be doing at the same time, asking questions, just assessing for themselves how bad any potential concussion could be for Alex Vlasov. Let's wish for the best, hope for the best for him, and the race pushes on. I'm going to push off, and I'll see you in the breakaway.
Robbie in the breakaway with Orla and Danny waiting for him. Adam will join later on. He's with me and Sean Kelly in the commentary box now. We're on to sector 7. You've got grass in the middle. Welcome back, Adam. I know you've been watching on. You're enjoying today's stage, like all of us. It is incessant entertainment.
Hey, if anyone says anything about gravel racing, they can do what this is the best racing coming day we've had so far in this Tour de France. But there's a few things interesting in there that I messaged you about, Rob. And it's UAE and the Beastman. You know, UAE have got the yellow jersey. They should be taking control of this race and not doing. And they are doing at times, but it's almost like Bismillah bike and UAE are having that I can't really say what I said to you on a message. The windmilling.
You can't. You
The
can't.
windmilling. They're trying to show who's strongest. They're trying to show who's the best team. They're trying to show we're stronger than you. No, you're not. We're stronger than you. But they don't need to. They can benefit from just playing their mind and thinking, letting them think they're better. As they enter Sector 7.
And it's Watford who's still there, coming back after being dropped earlier on. That yo-yoing of the gap continues. It's 1:18 right now. And at the front, Fanart is about to be joined by Joao Almeida, who moves up.
Did a fantastic ride for Joao Almeida. Ayuso's been there as well. Both of UAE and Bismail Isabay, both with 4 teammates around their leader. So 4 teammates for Jonas Vingegaard, 4 teammates for Tadej Pogacar. It's perfect for them so far. The perfect situation, the right amount of support. Wout van Aert just yo-yoing to and from the peloton. Every time he gets dropped, he comes back on, delivers over the next gravel section. Remco saying
the horns beeping, the crowd screaming, riders shouting. Yeah, so much going on. There's this headwind on this little bit.
Remco right up towards the front now as well. He's not making that mistake again. As you see Gamay getting back into the fold.
On the watch today, could it be a hat-trick?
Maybe treble.
Now then, a little further back, a nod. Look at that. That really was a nasty one. I mean, it's nice to see him okay and back. Let's hope he's feeling all right at the end of this and he can continue. Now, he has had the correct attention he requires.
Yeah, fingers crossed for last stop. But I'm getting intrigued to know with 45 Ks to go here. Is this group just doing this now as a GC group? As they treat on a mountain stage, but they've done the big mountains and now it's a case of getting to the finish safely? Or is one of these guys seems to be a stage win? Because if they're not, the likes of Van der Poel, Gamay, what are they going to do in this situation now? Because this is when it starts to get interesting. The attacks come for the stage win within the peloton. The GC riders start to follow that as well. It's a game now of stage win, GC. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I think for Jeremy, it's all about just hanging on here and trying to get through and see what the situation is at the very end of the final sector, the final 2 sectors that we can see here. You know, more difficulty just coming off, and that is the danger point when you come off the gravel, the sandy road, you come onto the tarmac and the dust there. We often see the Paris-Roubaix where you can slide out, but I think with the 113 back to this man, the yellow jersey, this is going to be a real danger one, because Pogacar is going to try something here in the final. When he's here, well, onto the grass, it's not a problem there. Dry, plenty of grip, just leave it run a little bit wide and do not panic at all. But yeah, this race is going to, you know, explode, I think. And at what point will it be? That is a big question, and you have to be ready here. As a GC man, I think the others will have to take big attention to Pogacar, because we know that style of racer he is. He is going to try something at the end, and you have to be, you know, just alert at all times. And as we get closer to the finish, you have to get more and more focused and watch where he is and be ready to make the move with him, because he will go through a gap. If you have teammates around him, he take that 20-30 metres in advantage unless you're really good to close him down. But that impressive one will be the world champion as well. He's just sneaking around here all day and just following the wheels. He's another one, I think. If he's on his day, he's definitely going to, you know, blow this group apart.
We're on to the longest sector without gravel roads now until we get on to the next one and until we get to the finish, in fact. Now there's a chat going on here. I'm intrigued as well as to see what you said about Van der Poel, because it's a different Van der Poel performance, isn't it? Normally it's sort of heart on sleeve, out there, flexing his muscles. This is clever. This is following, as Shaw was just saying.
This was, I forgot what race it was last year where he rode Liège. Liège where he's second, always on and off, yo-yoing, but he got second. He's got a good chance today, but he needs to catch these guys first.
Four sectors remain, 26 Ks, and here's Van der Poel, 45 seconds. He's alongside David Gaudu, maybe an unlikely actor in this group, alongside the man who tried to join him but didn't make it, Guillaume Martin. But Van der Poel is also with Girmay, Tiller, fast finishers. There's the likes of Costa, who's a wily old fox, who has a teammate further on. He has all the experience, the man who's done it many times before. Same to be said of Jakob Fuglsang, able to follow because Derek G's in the front. And this group had let the gap grow to 2.5 minutes, but with all the panic of getting on and off of each sector, it's come down to 1:30 again. And everybody wants that right position in and around their teammates.
I have to say I was questioning Tim Wellens. I've no need to question him anymore. He is back to Tim Wellens, what we expect from him. Doing a monster job.
You might be getting a call from Machine tonight as the Mr. Motivator of the team, because you questioned his abilities or his form at the very least on the television, and suddenly he turns up like this.
Send the contract through, Machine.
48 seconds from this group to the chase. And it's now looks to be Alex Vlasov. I wonder he's going to be feeling everything. He is going to be served.
Shoe takes up there as well there, Rob, so probably one of the boas on the shoe that tightens it up to make it tight around his foot. Obviously he's got tape around it to keep that shoe on. No time to change his shoe in the final here. He's on the bike and he's back in the bunch. That's a very good thing to see. So we hope, unlike Mads Pedersen, who had some injuries that got worse, hopefully his start to get better when he climbs off that bike today.
5 stars there in terms of his effort and commitment to Alex Vlasov. He showed it at the Dauphiné, and here, what a warrior. Let's not forget, it's not always easy to remember looking at this image, but he has a teammate in here, albeit in a different jersey. That's Javier Romo in the blue of Movistar. Now this is the sector that a lot were worried about earlier on today. It's only got 1 star, but we were told in no uncertain terms by a colleague, in unbroadcastable language, that it wasn't in a very good state.
No, very deep gravel, quite thick in terms of millimetres deep and that kind of thing. So there's sections on there where the cars haven't been able to shift the gravel to the side of the road. It's all in the middle, it's all in strange places that you're talking 4 or 5 centimetres deep at places. And if you get your... Oh, as we see, Healy go on the attack.
Healy's moving, and there's an immediate reaction from Alexei Lutsenko. Javier Romo is in there. 4-3 belongs to Turgis. Then you have Pitcock in the red. Starven's trying to move up a little gap back to Aramburu.
This is what Healy has to do. He has to make it hard at the right time. He has to put the pressure on the other riders and really go hard for a good 2-3 minutes. Try and crack them. We've seen him do it in the past where he can just open up that gap slowly and it grows and grows and grows and grows. Pitcock just sliding back a bit more there as we see these two once again. Visma Lisa bike versus UAE onto the cobbled section. Wow, Van Aert back on the front.
But the difference here, they're not fighting for the entrance and exit to Ronde of Vlaanderen Strat over the top. They're looking for each and every corner on the way into the finale of the Tour de France. Adam's going to go and get into the breakaway for his own finale. We'll see you later, Adam. Remember, there's lots to check out today as we see an issue now on the left-hand side for Tiller. Gaps to close. Girmay losing the wheel as well, Sean.
Yes, well, I think we've seen him on a number of occasions due to contact, and he seems to be under a little bit of difficulty here. But again, you know, you just keep on fighting there and get back after the gravel section, or maybe before that. But it'll be interesting to see who's going to be the strongest here out of this leading group. 43 seconds at the moment back to the Van der Poel group. And not eating into the advantage, you know, very quickly, and it will be a big ask for somebody to come across out of that Van der Poel group, and all depends how good some of the guys here on the leading group. As we can see, the fight again to get onto the gravel section in the GC men's group here, 136. It's looking like that is, you know, this is going to be a one where they're out for the stage victory, but yeah, for the overall standings, it could a lot still happen here in this final 22.3 kilometres.
Looking around there, and Polnitz just seemed to be distant. There's a line of Visma Lisa bike riders with Tadej Pogačar right in the middle in the yellow jersey. All that acceleration, chucking time after the gap as well, 134.
Healy's really trying to push on here.
And he has to be careful with the men he's with here. You know, when you push on the gravel, you put the riders under difficulty because it makes big difference. Here we go.
Sorry, Sean. Pogacar's on the move. Look at this. He's not content with what he's got, and he's already putting time into those behind. Evenepoel's distance, Roglic's distance, and look at Vingegaard fighting with every little last bit of energy to try and hold the wheel of his teammates. At the minute, there's a danger he might not survive that. Evenepoel coming across himself. Land a little further back now, Roglic on the right-hand side. He's following the wheels of the Bahrain victorious jerseys. It's Pogacar who has Laporte marking, and behind Vingegaard, he's really fighting. He's digging deep, but he's just struggling to hold that wheel of Jorgensen short.
Yes, and the teammates need to look around a little bit, as we can see here. You know, they're starting to look around to see where their leader is, and yeah, he's causing problems here. The man who were expecting to go in the attack here, he was always up for this one.
Go full on this one, it's the call. He's done just that. He has a little bit of a gap now. Is he going to continue? You'd guess so, looking behind. But Visma Leasebike have the men and the numbers here to repair this damage if they can, Sean.
Yes, well, we can see there that they're just waiting up, and you know, the European champion Laporte is just looking around, doing a great job for his leader here, and it is going to be a difficult one with 2 men from Jumbo Visma ahead of their leader there to correct this situation. And on the gravel situation, that's where it's really difficult. But you know, this man, you can never estimate his power here, even on this normal road.
Tadej Pogacar demonstrating just why we love watching him. It looked like a safe day. All of the damage had been survived. The possible chances to go. The stage win was going to those up the road. But Pogacar decided he wants to race anyway. And he's done this damage. One group, 2, 3, 4, as many as 6 or 7 in the picture there. Sector 3 in the meantime for those 44 seconds behind the leaders. And Pogacar, by the way, is only just half a minute behind this group now. And here he is, he's got Matteo Jorgensen on his wheel. Laporte is on the radio behind. They've almost stitched the whole back together, but not quite.
Well, we've seen Laporte here. He's after giving his all there, and his effort is over. As we can see, Vingegaard coming across on his own. Jorgensen is being called here just to knock it off a little bit, get him on his wheel here and try and correct this situation.
And looks as though Laporte was running out of gas there, hence the call on the radio. Jorgensen, as you said, Sean, dropped back to help. He knows what to do off-road, of course, but Pogacar is showing all of his own abilities. Jorgensen here has to absolutely bury himself. The issue for Vingegaard and anyone else who gets back on, as you can see, Evenepoel is chasing. Roglic is not in the picture here, but if they don't quite get back, or even if they do and they're isolated, there's still 2 more sectors after this.
Yes, and they're difficult sections as well, and you can see the way this group has blown apart. And it was always, you know, a possibility that we would see Pogacar going the attack in the final kilometres, and here we are. And you can see numbers here. Jumbo Visma doing a great job. Jorgensen, you know, slowly, not really sprinting back, trying to catch Pogacar, just get his man back into the wheel slowly here. We can see Remco also, you know, fighting to get back into contention here. And yeah, this is going to probably go all the way. Although when they come back together now, the 2 Jumbo Visma are going to just sit behind the yellow jersey, and then we could see a regrouping of that Remco Evenepoel group.
We wait to see what the damage to Primož Roglic is. Pogacar is making Jorgensen work extremely hard just to get back to the wheel. But the American star has managed it. That's a great ride from the young man who moved over from Movistar. Now, Evenepoel here. On his wheel, you can see Almeida. Juan Ayuso's there as well. Then Christophe Laporte hanging on enough. It is a 16-second gap, Sean, from Pogacar to Roglic. It's a 10-second gap from those on your screen to the Slovenian Vuelta and Giro winner.
Yes, well, we've seen that so many times today that you know, Primož is in difficulty when they really open it up and go full gas. He's not been in the front end of the race at all, and he's really limited his losses quite well, but you're going to be really in danger because the riders have seen that, they know that, and in this final 20 kilometres, that's where they can really hit the big time. Depend on situation now as we get off this section, what the groups will do in front, but he is in a real serious one here in this final 18 kilometres.
So they've always promised to be entertaining, but this is absolutely electric. Pogačar looking around and surveying the damage. He's only 15 seconds behind the front of Paul and Girmay group now. We're enjoying a champagne finish to the first block of racing. But it's in the Champagne Hills, the most northerly point on this Tour de France. For the first time in the men's tour properly, with the gravel roads being potentially problematic. It's proving to be the case for Roglic and perhaps even Evenepoel, who trails this group led by Tadej Pogačar, who is on a rampage here. Now keep your eyes on this group. This is the Evenepoel group. Now has Roglic reconnected? I would suggest he has, because there's a Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe jersey at the back, and he is with Carlos Rodriguez, as well as Bilbao and Buitrago, who are saving their own day at the minute, Sean.
Yes, well, I think he's going to be safe with Remco on the front here. We'll see him just continue on time trialing here, and on this section, the normal road, that's where he will be able to come back. And the two Visma Lisa bike riders, we could see Pogačar there flicking the elbow. They were never going to come through. There's no point in doing that at all, but it's worth a try, and now they're going to be a regrouping again. And Pogačar, if he continue on here, like he's going to burn himself before he gets to the next travel section, and then he's going to have difficulty getting rid of the two Visma Lisa bike riders. So best thing, wait up, regroup again, and just hit them again when they get on the next section.
There is Roglic at the back of that group. By the way, another interesting rider in that group is Pascal Ackermann, should this come back as well. He's followed on brilliantly. In the meantime, look at this right at the front. It's Anthony Turgis on the second to last sector, who's making a move. He's being chased by Derek G. 42 seconds to the green jersey group for the Paul. Just a minute to the yellow jersey group now. Looks as though it's Aramburu third wheel. It's clear and as Regista going to emerge from the cloud. Sector 2 now begins for Pogačar, Matthews, Tillett and the rest. 39 seconds behind the group we were just looking at. This is 2.2 kilometres long. Two-star sector. And now comes the yellow jersey group. Once more led by this Melissa bike as Tadej Pogačar sat in now with Almeida and Ayuso. This is Evenepoel at the back of the group, and he's alongside Primož Roglic. Evenepoel is now isolated, by the way. If there should be any issue mechanically for him, he's in a whole world of trouble. Same to be said for Primož Roglic. Picking his guessing today. There's Ackermann, who I just mentioned, right in the middle of the picture. Navy blue jersey on, right next to the yellow jersey. Is there still a minute to get to the front of the race? But he's got teammates up the road too. But he's following nicely here. This passage of the gravel for the yellow jersey group for the moment, Sean, is much more relaxed than it was last time.
Yes, it is. It's being controlled here by Visma, and they're just setting a pace here, and I think that has been the tactic a lot of the day here for that team. Just try and keep a very strong pace, and that's what their leader likes, and Vingegaard just keep him at that pace during the day, and they're trying to do it again. But it will be a question now, will Pogačar try once again on the final section here, and we can see out front 38 seconds is coming down for this group, but again it's getting very late in the day. But this man Mathieu van der Poel, he's another rider if he's on the day, well, when he does go, he can just, that explosive effort, like we see from Pogačar, he could, come down on the leaders very, very quickly, that 39 seconds. So it looks like 106 for the yellow jersey group. Doubtful if they get into a position where they can get into the stage for a stage win.
But they're attacking each other at the front now. Lutsenko has made a move off this penultimate gravel sector. For the minute, nobody can follow the man from Kazakhstan. It's Starman who realises the gravity of the situation. And Bobby Starr, a reminder, they have the numbers here. They must follow everything, sure.
Yes, well, you can use that, if you have numbers, you can use the numbers and just go at one move, then the following rider, the other rider needs to try and go at the next move. But it's not surprising that Lutsenko and a lot of riders in here, they're going to be thinking, well, if I stay with Stuyven, if I stay with Peacock, they know each other very well. I'm not going to be able to get a win out of this situation. So try and attack a bit further out and try and surprise them.
Start stuff now is going to favour Girmay, Potterbull, Matthews and those chasing. He realises that and takes it up again at the front. He was the man who attacked on the gravel last time, and now he pulls out the universal sign, so let's get organised. Good luck here.
Kasi yung they're working quite well together. But again, it all depends now who has got that freshness left as we go inside the final 14 kilometres. And it's getting a bit complicated, and they're all thinking, I have to try and spare a bit for the sprint. I have to try and go on the attack because I can't to get anything out with the faster men I'm with here, and that is the situation. But 35 seconds of that Van der Poel group, which looks to be riding the best at the moment. And again, back to the main peloton, it's still the same situation with Visma, Contrignon, second place.
We should Bilbao have a try at the end of that last section. Travel off the road with Abrams. Back in the group there and watching. Landa is back for here. This group is trying to come back 35 seconds to go to a lead. Led by David Gordillo. The Palmer team who have lacked severely so far at this tour. One sector to go. Starts inside the last 10Ks, finishes with 6.5 to the line. After a hard day where they've all emptied the tank, the nerves have been frayed, and every bit of energy expended. Now Derek G goes. And he's got Pidcock right on his wheel. Adam Buda wants to follow as well. The gap opens up to the rest. Look at the effort G's putting in there. He's trying to come across. He's trying, but he just can't do it. And Starman, he's choosing to play it tactically and wait on the wheel. Allows George to close that one. These games continue. And everybody wants a sprint here. Starman's cooking one up now. Take on to the other side of the road. He's all alone, and when he gets away, he is difficult to bring back.
Well, it's always a complicated one. When a rider gets that advantage of, that 10 seconds, if you wait for any time at all, then they're going to mark you when you attack, and you have to go pretty much immediately here. As we can see, G having to go again, Lutsenko following here. And this isn't a complicated situation. You have to be able to read the race, but you have to have the power as well. And Stuyven now is just giving his all here. And if they Lutsenko look around here and wants the others to ride, and they just have to play around a bit, then he could take that couple of 100 metres advantage, and then it's always difficult. And inside the final 10 kilometres, it's going to be an interesting one here.
Jasper Stuyven has not won a road race since he crossed the line victorious on Via Roma in Sanremo 3 years ago. The only place he's since has been on the gravel at the European Championships. How fitting it would be for him to turn to winning ways here on this mighty gravel stage at the Tour de France. He's got chasers here. He looks around and he can see them, but he's managed to sneak away for now, the man from Little Drake. 10 kilometres to go. It's Jasper Stuyven, a small gap, and the rest of the day's breakaway. 32-year-old from Leuven, the monuments man, looking for road win number 10 of his career. He's putting out a little bit of a gap here.
Yes, well, he has the power here. It must be the chocolate that's making him go so fast here in the final. But, yeah, it's a good-looking situation at the moment. We're getting ever so close here. 9.4 kilometres where we go into this final section. Is there anybody who can, just really push it on that final gravel road to close across here? But it's looking good for Stuyven. 8 seconds at the moment. And as they match each other, that is the problem. Riders on the front, you have a rider sitting your wheel. You don't want to make too much of an effort because they're getting that big advantage. And unless they get organised on this section, if there's somebody able to really push it across, or in the final when they come off the final 6.5 kilometres, but this man is in a real strong position to take it.
Jasper Stuyven with 10 seconds, and Sean mentions the chocolates. He comes from a family of chocolatiers in Leuven, which is Belgium's beer capital. That's where he won the European Gravel Championships last year, just down the road in a big forest to the south of the city. He has 10 seconds on 7 chases here. At 49 seconds, the world champion, Mathieu van der Poel, with Biniam Girmay, the green jersey, and the yellow jersey at 1:18. This is Jonas Abrahamsen riding his heart out. It has been a horrible, emotional, extremely, unfathomably difficult 24 hours for him and Norwegian cycling. You cannot help think or feel that this is a tribute to their mate. Final gravel sector here is 3 kilometres long. 2 more to go for Stuyven. He's holding those 11 seconds. In the meantime, for Jasper Stuyven, he's out there. Now, Pogačar's going to try once more, I think. Pogačar is going to try again on the final sector. He goes to the front, wants to take the corner in the right place, and this is where this Melissa bike has to watch Tadej Pogačar again, Sean Kelly, because he starts to get the revs going. The power's going into the pedals. Try to stay on his wheel is Jonas Vingegaard. He wants every second he can get.
Yes, well, he's going to try, and we can see Remco there in a good position this time. He is just off the back of Vingegaard here, and now we can see the yellow jersey having a look around to see what damage he's doing, but everybody pretty much that's, know they're in the wheel, and it's running out of time for this man to, try and take an advantage in the overall standing. Doesn't look like he's going to gain any time on his main rivals today.
Now, Evenepoel was coming to the front to try as well. Second group on the road here, 12 seconds behind the sole leader, who is Stuyven. And Evenepoel will try. He'll drill it. He'll ride. And we know he certainly rides with all the watts in the world. It's Evenepoel, followed by first place in the GC, who started the day 33 seconds ahead of him. Third wheel is Vingegaard, and we're looking for Primož Roglic. Once again, he's just out of shot. Rodriguez followed. Roglic is a long way down here. Is he still in this group? Yes. Right at the back there now, about 20th wheel. Oh, no wonder both Pogačar and Evenepoel are trying, if that's the case, Sean.
Yes, well, they know he's in difficulty all through the day. When it's really pushed on, he has been in difficulty. So they're going to try it right to the end. And the opportunities are here on the gravel. If a guy is been in difficulty right through the day, keep on trying. See where you really break him and gain that time.
$350 metres for Stuyven to survive on the gravel. This now is Pogačar, one big around Jonas Abrahamsen. And there is Remco Evenepoel here. He was at the front, he was driving it. This is Pogacar with Diego on the wheel. Ackermann is the man who's following. Got just a little far behind, isn't he? And now, after having put in his own effort, he's starting to be distanced. Starvin on the top left-hand side of the picture. Gap's down to 8 seconds now, and the chase is being led by Thomas Pidcock. 6.5 kilometres to go for the Belgian.
Yes, and this is going to be the real test for Stuyven here against the other ones. If they get organised at all and, you know, staff working together, well then for Stuyven it could be a difficult one to hold all the way. But often we see the chasing group, you know, they can't just organise themselves, and always riders wanting to wait for the sprint, and yeah, it gets totally deorganised, and that's where we could see it starting to pull out. But at the moment, 8 seconds that we can see are still riding strongly behind.
It's Alex Aramburu with the latest turn, the Spanish national champion who hails from the Basque Country. Healy comes around to take his own turn. They start the close. Dusty, tired, out of energy, Stuyven still rides on though. The prize is a huge one. The first ever win in the Tour de France for a man who has a stage at the Vuelta and a big monument classic. Off the gravel for the final time for the GC contenders. In the pool, closing the gap. Primož Roglic should just about be okay. He's hanging around at the back of the group. Callum Rodriguez has survived brilliantly too. The big four all looking okay. Roglic should be, what, 50 minutes behind. So jheski's just at the back of the group now. Coming to the front. It's been a day of survival for GC challenges. It looks as though Sean Kelly, the top four, the big four, are going to still be very much in the game. There is Roglic. It's not been a smooth week for all of them. They're all in their own ways, have fought. Varying degrees of success, but with just around a minute and a half between the top four, going into week 2, we are still in for another couple of weeks of an absolute treat of a Tour de France.
Yes, well, the big favourites this race, certainly, you know, they're all very much in contention. Today was going to be a day that they were very concerned, all of them, because the mechanical at the wrong time, even though if you're the best of the big four, you can still get into big problems, and they have defended very well here. We're through the final section, and now they're going to finish together. And also, the other men, the GC classification, Carlos Rodriguez, for example, a rider that would not like this sort of train at all. He's defended very well here, as there are many others here in the GC standings. So, you know, this big day, they'll be really happy to get to the finish and not lose any time. You know, the guys that do not like this sort of train, as we can see here, they're starting to work well together here. 7 seconds at the moment. You can see in dangling out front there, as we see some of the riders trying to get back in here, you know, after being just distant in that final section.
Wout van Aert is on the wheel of his compatriot Louis Verstappen. This now is Michael Matthews who's making a move from the Van der Poel group, but at a minute, is it too late, Sean?
Yes, I think it's going to be far too late. We can see up front there, you know, they're chasing the leader on the road, the sole leader, so they have to keep on working, and you know, it's going to go all the way to the finish now, and you know, that gap he had to close there, Matthews, it's not going to happen in this final. After such a difficult day, you know, they're not going to play around that far out now because of the chase here on to catch this time.
Just under 4 kilometres to go. Let's see what the gap is. Because the graphic showed nothing there. Good news for Stuyven fans. He's still out there. He's still in front. But by how much? Let's have a look. It's still all sizable enough. It might even be growing. 9 seconds again. What's left in the tank behind? 3.5 kilometres to go. Stuyven still on course for success. Behind a chase in front, he pedals for his life. Jasper Stuyven. It's been a long time since he won a road race. Via Roma, Milano Sanremo the last time. Let's hear what they're telling him.
It's getting bigger, Jasper. The gap is getting bigger. Come on, come on, come on.
It's been a hard few days for Lidl Trek. Lars Pedersen having to go home. He was their main aim. Before the tour they lost Tailgate and Hart. this could be some very sweet success for them.
Well, this will be a major success for him. We heard from Max Pedersen, when he was leading the race the other morning, he was encouraging his guys, to go out there and fight and, give it everything, and that's what this man has got to do here. Still 8 seconds at the moment, and they're working together. But as you get inside this, the final 1,500 metres, maybe the 2 kilometres to go, some of the rest are thinking, oh, I'm not going to catch him. Try and spare a little bit for the sprint and try and get the places that are on the podium. And that's where, he could just pull another couple of seconds and go all the way.
Look at Derek G. One big effort here. He was even out a saddle there. On his wheel, sticking to it is Javier Romo. But what happens when G finishes? This could be key. If someone else pulls it across, then they could pull him back. But no, they hesitate. Then look, that is until Ben Healy sets off. It's still up for grabs, but he's holding it as we go into 2Ks to go. What's left in that tank? He's running on empty here.
Well, he has to be, so we can see the way they're starting to play around a little bit in that chasing group. And when you look at the riders are there, if they could work better together, it would be possible to close this one down. But we can see 4 seconds at the moment, and Healy just pushing on there. But yeah, they're starting to look around, attack each other. But, Movistar, Romo, he has to go to the front here and drill it and try and get it back together for his man, the Spanish champion.
Well, that started to look good there for both Derek G and Ben Healy, but Lutsenko comes across, 1.4 Ks to go, and Sturven is going to see the Flamme Rouge. But behind, they still want to break his heart. Romo is now out the game. Lutsenko with a big turn. They're getting closer. They're almost up there now. But Sturven has to continue to pedal away. It's just a handful of seconds. 2 or 3, no more. He looks behind. You've got to keep pedaling though, Jasper. 1K to go, it's still possible, but he's out of gas. He's tiring, that's that, Sean.
Yes, well, it's Lutsenko who just had that power to close him down here and just kept riding on the front with Pitcock in the wheel now, and it looks like, yeah, it's an interesting one. Who's going to be the fastest out of this group, because it's going to come down to a sprint. Unless we see a surprise attack, Healy has a go.
And Ben Healy wants to make his move in the pink jersey. There's no chocolates and champagne for Sturven, but it's Healy here who's at the front. Aramburu, who remember has the sprint on the wheel, comes off his big success in the Spanish Nationals. Healy's giving everything, perhaps too much here, as Pitcock's still in the game as well. Torgy stays in third wheel. 500 metres to the line at the end of what has been such an exciting day. One to remember down the years in the annals of Tour de France history. 300 metres out of the line in Troyes. It's where we started on a rare loop stage. And now it's Lutsenko who goes on the inside and looks to take the right line. Aramburu, the Spanish champion, through the centre. We know he has to pay, but here comes Derek G. Derek G on tour debut. So many times second at the Giro last year. Turgis, though, is going to come around. Anthony Turgis is there. The line is up ahead of him. Pitcock's there, but it's Anthony Turgis who wins a pulsating stage. A classic on a classics parcours. What a day at the Tour de France. And it's a Frenchman who goes into the first rest day with a brilliant, explosive pop of a champagne cork. Anthony Turgis, now a Tour de France stage winner. And for Total Energy, who, let's be honest, have been weak, missing in action in the last few years. That is a moment for them to savour, Sean.
Yes, it certainly is, and for a team, Total Energies, we have seen in this race, not being in the fight for a stage anywhere over the first week of racing, but get their stage win. And Turgis yesterday, he was up there that sprint as well. He was in 7th place, and looking at him coming in there, I was saying he's a man that have the energy, have the form at the moment, and he certainly has it there today.
They're looking around for the places behind. A reminder that 8 have already come across the line. This is the 9th place, and Michael Matthews is up and looking for it. But of course, Biniam Girmay knows there are points everywhere on offer, and Girmay has been winning sprints at this tour with relative ease. He does it again. Biniam Girmay winning the sprint from the next group and extending his lead in the green jersey classification. And next up, those who have survived all day long. They've given each other a right kicking on and off the gravel. There's been nervous moments, bike changes, punctures, weak days, have turned to strong days. But in the end, it is as we were in the general classification, going into the first rest day at this absolutely outstanding fairy tale Tour de France. Pogacar will take the yellow jersey into week 2. Anthony Torgis will now be known as Anthony Torgis, Tour de France stage winner. And it will mean the world to Total Energy. Questions will have been asked Sean Kelly about whether they deserve to be here. French team given the faith by the French organisers and repaid here with quite the show from Torgis.
Yes, well, what a sprint here we could see, you know, when he comes out of the slipstream of jheski, he had a lot of power. Peacock seems to be the one who was following him and did that very well and tried to come over in the final number of meters, but this man, he had the power and winning it comfortably enough, and this is going to make, of course, the race for Total Energies.
Riders coming in here, dirty after a brutal day on the gravel stage today. We have Derek G over here, happy but also disappointed. Look here behind me, Michael Matthews, fourth. In the end, not a stage win, but the faces and the expressions of the riders here, it's like they've done a classic today. And we have Joao Almeida. Joao, we're live on Eurosport. Can I get a quick reaction? Tell us how it was out there.
It was nice. It was a bit nervous before every sector, like normal. But we were extremely really good work with the team, so there was always in a good position. And yeah, we did a good work.
Your kid is not wide anymore, obviously. What was the plan for you guys before today's stage?
Just be safe in every sector. And yeah, just normal time in the finish. We knew it would probably be a late breakaway or a breakaway stage. You know, we didn't really want to control for the big stage victory because there'd be a lot of energy. But yeah, we're going to the rest day with the good work.
Great stage. Words from Joao Almeida. Riders coming in here behind us, also Nils Pollitt, Adam Yates. Make sure you stay tuned. We have way more content from today's gravel stage.
So a third French stage win on this year's Tour de France. Anthony Torgis. A relief for his team, most definitely. All the team are celebrating as they come across the line. Jesper Stuyven will feel done by. Brilliant effort from him. Anthony Torgis coming home just ahead of a very frustrated Tom Pidcock.
welcome to a very, very wet Silverstone circuit. British summertime at its finest for this round 4 of the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. Qualifying was held in perfect conditions, would you believe it? A wet track at the beginning, and then it started to dry. The cars finished on slicks, and it was an exciting session for the 29 drivers. We've got 7 guest drivers, mainly coming from the Porsche Carrera Cup GB Championship. The best of those, Gus Burton up in 14th, but look out for Angus Whiteside, James Wallace, Joshua Stanton, George Gamble, who's second in that GB Championship at the moment, Oliver Jackson and Michael Kreese. As we head into the top 15, Jaap van Lagen, very quick earlier on in the weekend, couldn't get it done in qualifying. Keegan Masters qualified well a week ago in Austria. He's inside the top 10 ahead of Liram Zendelli, who had a real challenging race, if you remember. Cas Havercourt in 8th is leading the rookie standings, a former F4 champion. And then if we get to the sharp end, it's an all-Schumacher CLRT front row. Third pole position of the season, third in 4 races for Laddie Tempiorda and his teammate, who was on pole in Austria last time out just a week ago, lines up alongside him. If you're looking for the Pink Panther of Harry King, the lead BWT Lechner lines up in 4th. And the 2020 GB champion on home soil, desperate to deliver in front of the British fans. Will we have any green flag racing is the question mark. Will he be able to move forward and break the deadlock? Because just ahead of him is another Schumacher CLRT machine, and that's the Porsche Junior of Alessandro Guidetti in 3rd place. You can see there, top 3 black machines, then the 2 BWT Lechners, the Pink Panthers, and then you have Robert De Haan, the youngest driver in the field, in 5th place, ahead of the Israeli star and fellow rookie Ariel Levy, Middle East winner in 2022, Porsche Carrera Cup Scandinavian champion in 2023. He's got real pedigree there on the outskirts of the top 6. Well, as you can see, as the field makes its way around this sort of village loop, if you like, the water on track is quite something. It is very wet here at Silverstone. It is waterlogged, and I can't see much in the way of any green flag racing at this stage.
Very happy with the result. To be honest, it was quite a tricky conditioning in the qualifying. In the beginning it started to rain. I got the flashback from 2 or 3 years ago, where the rain could continue, but then after the first stint, the track went drier. In the end I had a really good lap. My first lap I made a little mistake, so I had to cool down and do it again. And then I put it quite good together, and of course very happy with it. Thank you to Schumacher CLT for the great car, and really looking forward for tomorrow, and of course also very happy for the team. Finally, 1, 2, and 3. Amazing.
That's our pole sitter, Laddie Tempiorda. And as I said, the reason we're underway here and it hasn't been postponed and or delayed.
Right, it seems that the wall is behind us. The wall has already happened in terms of rain, and it will come down a little bit more with the push.
Well, there's blue sky in the background. There you go, top left-hand side of your screen. Ever optimist to get going, but as you can see in these conditions, it would just be impossible. There, spray coming off those front wheel arches. There is waves of water, and as I was saying a second ago, the reason we are behind safety car is with a congested timetable before the Grand Prix, with all of the pomp and ceremony and of course the race, we can't delay anything. But just look at that. Plumes of water And the red flag, the only option now, just too wet to even run behind the safety car here at Silverstone. That will be bitterly disappointing for Harry King. Cars will filter into pit lane now behind that Aston Martin safety car. And we will wait to hear from race control. Have they got a window to run this race? Will it brighten up here at Silverstone? Will that blue sky finally appear? Well, if you're just joining us, the fourth round of the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup has been red flagged after one lap behind the safety car. We started with dry track here this morning at Silverstone. The rain has come in and it is very, very wet indeed. And with that risk, there is no other decision than to red flag this. And that is a sorry sight. So is that all the British fans. Some of the best motorsport fans in the world here in their thousands under the umbrella. And if an image doesn't spell out British summertime better than what you've just seen there, then get in touch. Keegan Masters in his car. You see the JTR crew there. John Tandy Racing, of course. John Tandy, Nick Tandy, of course, raced in the Porsche Mobil Super Cup in 2010. At the helm of that JTR squad now.
Okay, good. We'll be out for 5 minutes, in which time they're waiting for the track conditions to improve.
Aston Martin at the end of the pit lane, driven by Burt Maylander. Now the 10th order, the lead car, pole sitter here. Cars are now running. The race is set to get underway in about a minute's time. Apologies for any pictures that were lost there. Features dropping out. I can assure you it's not raining. We're about to get underway. Take two here at Silverstone for this fourth round of the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. And you can see that is more like it. Spray coming off these cars. But it's not a wave of water like we saw off of the front axle when we got going about 20 minutes ago. And they've done a really good job here at Silverstone trying to dissipate some of that surface water. You can see there are patches, but it's drained very, very well on this asphalt. This looks like it could be raceable here. And if the sun comes out with the wind, it will dry fairly quickly. And then we'll get into that greasy stage where the blocks of rubber on the tyres will start to overheat, start to break up. All the fast corners here, got to work really hard to protect the left front. Those rear tyres as well. Maylander very cautious in the Aston Martin there, leading the field in this safety car period. Liram Zendelli in the 19 car. He was in the wars, it's fair to say, last time out in Austria.
Sounded a little bit like Dick Darcy on his radio, got pushed around, didn't enjoy that race one bit. The others around him had their knees and elbows out. One of those was Harry King, who'd had that contact early on with Marvin Clean. You can see the blue sky. You can see also the dry line in terms of minimal standing water here. Far from dry, of course, but that's where some of the grip will be. Of course, drivers will be exploring where the grip lies around this Silverstone circuit. 5.89 kilometres, some of the most famous corners in world motorsport, some of the most challenging corners as well. And that's in the dry, never mind what it looks like in the wet. Already drivers starting to look to cool their tyres. Now that's not for now, that is to try and protect the wet tyre for later on in the race. Try and keep the temperatures down. They don't want to use that tyre, don't want to generate heat in that tyre at this stage. Trying to protect the tyre, and then they'll start in anger if we eventually get green. Lap 2 of 12 at the moment, and as I explained earlier, with the pomp and ceremony and the compact schedule from this now, the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup race through to the beginning of the Grand Prix. Very difficult to delay this race much longer and or postpone it. So, getting going, albeit under safety car conditions at the moment. And drivers looking to protect those tyres. They will start to generate some temperature in the carcass of the tyre. They can do that in a number of different ways, but you won't see them weaving around. Want to get temperature in the brakes, of course, and that will resonate up. Look at those clouds, incredible scenes here at Silverstone. 45 minutes, an hour ago, the skies opened, and it was quite a deluge. And you can see the remnants now. Sat on the pit lane for 20 minutes as well. The sweepers were out clearing the surface water. Some of the drivers will be desperate to get going, others less so. And you can see we are about to get going. Safety car lights are out. That is the signal to the drivers that we will be going.